Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today we will see what if Naruto is banished from the Konoha. He trains with Kyuubi and becomes stronger. He starts his own village. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. He told you I was going to drag you back here, Sasuke, said Naruto, who was looking at Sasuke in the hospital bed. You think this is funny, Dobi, huh? Naruto said nothing. He knows Sasuke was going to be mad at him. Get out, spat Sasuke. Naruto just walked out, not saying a word. I need to talk to Obaa-chan. This wound is really starting to bug me. Naruto walked down to Tsunade's office but stopped when he heard her yelling. No, I will not banish Naruto. Tsunade, he is becoming a treat. Did you see how injured Sasuke was, said Koharu in a calm voice. It doesn't matter anyways because we got more than 75% of the council backing us on this one, Tsunade, said Danzo. What, they're banishing me? After all I did, I get banished for just having this stupid fox in me. Hey kid, I'm not stupid, just to let you know. I've been living for thousands of years and I've learned a lot, so I'm a long way from stupid. What am I supposed to do now that I'm being banished? Isn't it obvious we're leaving? I'll teach you and you'll become strong. 3 hours later, Naruto was going out of the main gate of Konoha. He turned and looked at the village hidden in the leaves and shook his head. I might not be able to be Hokage, but I will be a Kage. You ready, kid? Yeah, let's go. With that, Naruto Uzumaki disappeared from the leaf. 2 days later. Where are we? Asked Naruto, not really asking anyone. We are in the tea country, kid. Konoha would never think to come here to look for you. Why would Konoha look for me? They were going to banish me. Because kid, you left before they officially banished you, and knowing Danzo, he'll get the cancel to put you in the bingo book and try to have you killed. Naruto just shook his head. He knew it made sense. On to other things. We need to get you stronger, a lot stronger. I will begin training you and you will be able to start your village in at least 4 years, said Kyuubi while laughing. What's the catch? Come on kid, don't you think I can just do something nice for you, said Kyuubi while laughing. No, now what do you want in return for training me? I want you to let me free from my cage. Sensing Naruto's answer, he quickly explained. I know what you're thinking, but let me explain. There is a way you can let me out, but you control how much power I get. I'm listening, said Naruto, who was fully into the conversation now. Kyuubi started to tell Naruto about the seal, and when he finished, Naruto had a smile on his face. 1 hour later, Naruto had gathered 3 deer and drew a circle in his blood. Now push your chakra and mine out of your body and direct it at the deer and then say seal release. Naruto did as he was told and said seal release. The deer started to twist and turn, shaping into a human body. 7 minutes went by until the body started to move and get up. Feels great to be out and about after such a long time. Kyuubi, stuttered Naruto. Yeah, who do you think it is? Said Kyuubi, actually speaking instead of talking in Naruto's mind. Wow kid, you gave me the strength of 3 cages, said Kyuubi, chuckling. Okay, now we get to training. I'm going to train you in taijutsu, ninjutsu and fuinjutsu, sealing jutsu. 4 years later. Where are we going? Q asked an impatient Naruto. He was blindfolded and Kyuubi told him he had a surprise for him. We're here. He let Naruto undo the blindfold, and there before him was a beautiful village matching the leaf in size. The buildings were made of the finest wood and the best of metals. Well, what? It's yours. While I was training you, I had Tazuna and many others build a village for you. This is amazing. So what are you going to call it? Naruto looked at the village. The light was making it look better than it was. Then it hit him. I'm going to call it the Light Village, or the village hidden in the light. Well then, I officially name you the Hikarikage, Showdown Hikarikage. Naruto was shocked. He had not expected this, and he realized that he accomplished his goal of becoming a Kage. Well kid, now we have to get people to come to your village, ninja and citizens. That's easy. I can just get Ero Sennin to get the word out about my village. Naruto sensed Kyuubi's question and answered before Kyuubi asked. Yes, I still have contact with Ero Sennin, but he won't rat me out. How are we going to contact him, kid? Simple, summon him. Naruto did some long complexed hand seals and then shouted, summoning jutsu. As the smoke cleared, Jiraiya was crouching with binoculars laughing. Hey kid, what you want? I'm kind of busy right now. I need you to send word about my village far and wide so I can get villagers and ninjas, and if possible ninja clans. Fine, just let me get back to my research, said a slightly annoyed Jiraiya. Fine. Naruto did the same hand seals and then Jiraiya was gone. 2 years later. Naruto village was booming. The civilians and the ninja population was double that of the Leaf. Naruto was waiting in Cage Tower. Kyuubi said he was going to meet him there because he had to tell him something important. Naruto was starting to get mad because Kyuubi was 20 minutes late. I wish he would hurry up, and just then Kyuubi appeared. Hey kid, sorry took so long, I was trying to get that lady to leave me alone but she wouldn't, so I had to give her a quickie. Never mind that what you had to tell me, Kyuubi, said annoyed Naruto. Well, I wanted to give you this to congratulate you becoming stronger than me in this state. Kyuubi held out a summoning contract. On closer inspection Naruto noticed it was a fox summoning contract. Here, sign, this is your blood and you will be able to summon as foxes whenever you need. Oh, and just to let you know, there are only 5 foxes you can summon. The first one has 1 tail. The second one has 2 tails and so on. Each tail means the stronger the fox. The 1-tailed fox is as big as small dog. The 2-tailed fox is as big as a horse. The 3-tailed fox is as big as a wagon. The 4-tail is as big as a building. The 5-tail is as big as the boss toad. You can't summon the other 4 foxes because they are too strong to handle. Just then a chunin burst in the door. Winded. Hikarikage-sama, AIM has just declared war on us. And no, I don't own Naruto. At least not yet, muahahaha. Konaha, Kakashi, Sakura, Sasuke, Guy, Shikamaru, Lee, Neji, and I are going to the Light Village to seek an alliance with the Hikarikage. Shizune, you will be in charge while I am gone from the village. We are leaving in 30 minutes, so get what you need and meet me at the West Gate. Hi, they all shouted in unison and then they disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Light Village, so AIM has declared war on us. Yes, Hikarikage-sama. Dismissed, yelled Naruto, and the Junin evaporated in a ray of light. Kyuubi, Naruto shouted. Kyuubi appeared in his usual no shirt, showing off his well-toned stomach and tanned skin, with his black ninja pants with black ninja sandals, with his 9 tails swishing behind him. His face was covered with his mask that was similar to the Anbu, except his was a fox mask, of course. What do you want, brat? Assemble the tax captains, tactical assassination and killing squads, at once, said Kyuubi, seeing the seriousness in Naruto's face. He also faded away in ray of light. After Naruto had become the Shodown Hikarikage, he had made Kyuubi the leader of the tax. Konaha. At the West Gate you could see 7 shinobi standing behind the Hokage. Okay, this mission is a S-rank mission because we are entering shinobi lands that we don't even know are friendly. Said Tsunade, we're moving out. That said, the 8 shinobi took to the trees in silence until Sakura spoke up. I wonder what the Hikarikage is like. I guess we will see when we will get there, Sakura. Tsunade said with venom. Ever since Naruto left and Tsunade figured out that Sakura was a bitch to him when he brought Sasuke back, she quit teaching Sakura and was very mean to her. Flashback. Everyone was standing at the village gates because they heard that the demon was back with their precious Uchiha. One pink-haired female was pushing to the front of the crowd to see if it was really true. When she got to the front, she saw Naruto with Sasuke on his shoulders, both in a very bad condition. You monster! She shouted as she snatched Sasuke from Naruto and kicked Naruto to the ground despite seeing the massive hole in his chest from the Chidori. But Sakura-chan, he was cut off by Sakura. Don't talk to me, you demon. She walked away, not saying a thing. End flashback. I can see the village coming up, said Guy, feeling the tension coming from the group. They jumped down and ran up to the gates with the Hokage and led. Just to let you all know, everyone is wearing their Shippuden costumes besides Naruto, was too lazy to change, haha. Halt, said the guard, looking at the 8 Konoha nen. What business do you have here? We are here traveling, said Tsunade, knowing that it was just be easier to find the cage rather than have to do paperwork, which was her worst enemy. The guard nodded and they were let in the village. Okay, this place is bigger than I thought, said Tsunade. Okay, well, let's get looking. Unknown to them, a tax member was watching them ever since they entered. Knock knock was heard at the door from Naruto's office, which was full of tax captains. Enter. Sorry for interrupting your meeting, Hikarikage-sama, but I just spotted 8 Konoha ninjas enter the village. Naruto seemed to be thinking for a moment, then he said, You are dismissed. All the ninjas disappeared from the room. Fox, snake, raccoon, and dog. Out of nowhere 4 tax members appeared from thin air. I want you to gather the Konoha ninjas and bring them to me at once. He shouted. Hi, and they disappeared in light. Konoha ninjas. Maid guy never got to finish his word as 4 masked ninjas appeared in front of them. The Hikarikage-sama wishes to speak with you. Naruto was sitting facing the window in his huge office when light shined and they knew that his guest had arrived. Without even turning around he speaks. Why are you here, Konoha ninja? Before they got to answer, Kyuubi appeared by the Hikarikage's side. They all noticed the 9 tails. Kyuubi stuttered, Tsunade. You have yet to answer my question, said the Hikarikage, getting annoyed. We have come to see if we could get an alliance, Tsunade stated. Why does Konoha want an alliance with a village such as mine, and what would I gain from it? Said the Hikarikage coldly. We are being attacked by 3 of the great nations and we are running out of supplies and ninjas. This time it was Kakashi who answered. I still don't see what I am gaining from this alliance. Naruto said, still looking out the window, hiding his face. You would be protected by us and Suna. Tsunade said. You said it yourself that you're running out of supplies and ninja, how would I be protected? Kyuubi bent down to the Hikarikage's ear and said something that they could not hear. Slowly he turned in his chair to face his guest. Naruto, they all gasped. I want to become one of the great nations and my friend Kyuubi here just informed me that I can become a member of the great nations if I have 3 of the great villages sign a paper. He stated plainly. We could get Suna and ourselves, but what about the other nations? They are all against us. Kakashi answered. Simple, I'm on good terms with the Raikage and I can get him to sign it after the war. But if you join our side, then what? Guy never got to finish as a tax member burst in. Sorry to interrupt, Hikarikage-sama, but AIM is on the march as we speak. Kyuubi gathered 30 tax squads and silence a megacure. At once. Then Kyuubi was gone. Tsunade opened her mouth to speak. Naruto, are you sure that your men can take Hanzo the salamander? And yes, I am well aware that Pain is the leader of a megacure, but you will soon find out why I did that. I am sure, Tsunade. She cringed when he called her that. Now do we have a deal or what? Naruto yawned out. She pushed a contract in front of Naruto for him to sign. He signed and then shook Tsunade's hand. You may stay here in the house next to mine, which is the guest house for the cages and daimyos that often visit my village, said Naruto. Hawk, lead them to the guest house. You are dismissed. Hi. The tax shouted and lead the Konoha ninjas out the door. So that Dobi has become a cage, but a weak on at that. Sneered Sasuke, looking at the market. Naruto will never be better than you, Sasuke. Sakura said, which caused everyone besides Sasuke to shake their heads in disapproval. Hinata, shouted Neji, pointing towards the girl that had long blue hair that reached to the middle of her back. Tight lavender shorts that didn't even reach the knee, with a tight lavender shirt that showed her figure perfectly. This of course made all the guys on the team drool so much that they could have drowned the whole village. Sakura, seeing that Sasuke was paying attention to Hinata, jumped forward and started being an ass as usual. Hinata, you are a missing nin of Konoha. Sakura then got into a fighting stance. Hinata had been having a good day until this happened. She had heard that the Konoha ninjas had arrived since she was Vice Captain Tax, which was right below Kyuubi. Haruno-san, Hinata said in a sweet but deadly voice that made everybody cringe. Sakura rushed forward to try to land a hit on Hinata, but when Sakura reeled her fist back, Hinata disappeared from since only to appear right behind Sakura and hit her in the back of the neck, knocking her out. That's when everybody seen Hinata's hair fly up, and under her hair what light headband, the metal plate with the sun and the rays shining from all sides. Hinata looked at Sakura and jumped from the ground to the roof of the building towards the cage tower. Hinata walked up the steps off the tall tower and knocked on the door. Come in, said a voice that was obviously Naruto's. Hinata opened the door and blushed. Naruto was wearing his usual beige ninja pants and father's orange coat with flames down the bottom. But this time it was open, and so Hinata got to see his tight black shirt he had on, which showed his six-pack and well-toned muscle. Just wanted to know if you were up for some training, Hinata said. Yay, sure, Hinata-chan, but you're really going to have to stop all the stuttering and getting all these colds, Naruto said, looking at Hinata's red face. All the hidden tax members in the room, all sweat dropped. Naruto might be smart and reliable, but when it came to girls, Naruto was nowhere near up to speed. Alright Hinata-chan, let's go. Secretly Naruto was holding in a blush when Hinata first walked in the room. It had been silent all the way to the training ground, but when they got there Hinata spoke up. Naruto-kun, I have something I want to tell you. Naruto was surprised that she didn't stutter. Naruto-kun, I love you. Back in the leaf I used to like, but no, I love you. Hinata, I love you too. I never really thought that you would love someone like me. Naruto opened his mouth to speak, but his lips were captured by Hinata's. He was surprised at first, but then he started to kiss her back while pulling her closer to him. He felt Hinata's huge rack press onto him. He broke the kiss, then looked into her eyes and saw how truly beautiful she was. Well, I guess it's time that we get back to our guests so that we can discuss some things with them. With that said, Naruto wrapped his hand around Hinata's back, then glided all the way to her ass and squeezed it, which got a good eep from Hinata, and they both faded into light. They arrived at the house that the Konoha nin were staying, getting a quick gasp from the shining of the light, and when they saw where Naruto's hand was. Naruto took a quick look around to see if everything was as he left it. The house was pretty nice with the blue wallpaper with the Uzumaki swirls. The living room was complemented the blue with ocean blue coach and a lamp and several blue chairs where they were also blue, and that's where the Konoha nin were sitting. Naruto saw that Hinata had fainted, so he laid her on the coach and he just stood. Ba-chan Tsunade almost squealed in delight when Naruto called her that because she thought that Naruto had hated her, even though in Konoha she said she didn't like it when he stopped calling her, that it really saddened her. Ba-chan, I'm glad you're here because now that we are not discussing official matters I can get out of my seriousness. Tsunade could understand that business meant business. So that must have meant that he didn't hate her. She was now smiling, and so was Naruto. She got up and went over to Naruto and gave him a bone-crushing hug. After 15 seconds she finally let go. Naruto, I've missed you so much, said Tsunade. I missed you too, Ba-chan. Only reason I didn't contact you is because I didn't want that damn council to try to eliminate my village while it was still weak. Naruto emphasized on the was, making sure everybody could hear. But Ba-chan, I would like permission to come with you back to Konoha so that I can make sure that the council try nothing stupid like not try to sign the papers so that I can become one of the major villages. Sure, Naruto. Damn, old man Sarutobi gave that council too much damn power. Got that right, muttered Naruto. Everyone in the room, surprisingly even Guy and Lee, stayed quiet and listened to their conversation. Just then Kyuubi appeared. Hey Brad, I took care of Hanzo the salamander and every single shinobi a megacure has. Kyuubi then proceeded to lift Hanzo's head out of a black bag that he was carrying with him at the moment. Ah, Kyuubi, you're getting blood on the floor, shouted Naruto. Anyways, let's start heading towards Konoha. Naruto could see the Leaf Village gates coming into view. As much as he didn't want to come back here, he knew he had to. He didn't want Konoha to pull a fast on over on him. The guards at the guard station saw their Hokage and ninja coming back, but they didn't recognize the other three ninjas. They were about to get up and question, but a wave of a hand from Tsunade and they sat back down. When the three mysterious ninja passed by, the guards recognized Naruto and Hinata. They were lost for words, so they just let them pass. Everything was the same to Naruto. The hidden leaf village hadn't changed to him at all. It was still bright with the market bursting with people. Plants in windowsills and the fresh smell of the bread from the bakery just down the street from the Hokage Tower still wafting around the village. The Hokage Tower was obviously the tallest building standing in the back of the village. Naruto, I will go schedule a meeting with the council. Be there at 6 o'clock sharp. Then the Hokage and the ninja left, leaving Naruto, Hinata and Kyuubi to themselves. Kyuubi, who had already retracted his tales because he knew how the Konoha ninja would react, told them that he was going to wander around. Well, I guess that leaves you and me, said Naruto with a smile. Actually, Naruto, I wanted to see my sister Hanabi at the Hyuga compound. Hinata said, oh well, that's okay, I just go hang out with my dad. Naruto said. Kyuubi was walking in the forest when a red light appeared next to him, and out from the ground came a demon-looking creature. He had all red skin and tattered shorts. He had no shirt and his face was serious. What do you want, Makai? Said Kyuubi to one of his servants from when he used to rule the underworld. Lord Kyuubi, the Wolf Clan is taking over the underworld and now they are planning to attack this world in 6 months' time. Said Makai. Damn, should have known that Isu wouldn't stay still for too long. So Isu is the new demon lord? Kyuubi said with a frown. Yes, Lord Kyuubi, most of the demons are still with you, but some of the most powerful have gone to Isu's rule, like the dragons and the lions. Oh, and when I call animal names like dragon and lions, they look like Makai except with dragon features or lion features, example red skin with scales and wings on the back and long teeth with claws. Alright Makai, you are dismissed. Go to all the major clans, animal clans, and have them meet me in the human plane in 3 months. Snarled Kyuubi. Hinata had just entered the Hyuga compound. It was still the same one mansion-sized house for the main family and one big house for the branch family. I remember when I left here. Flashback day after Naruto left. Hinata was in the Hokage office with Shikamaru, Lee, Kiba and Akamaru, Shino, Choji, Ino, Sakura, Tenten, Neji, and their senseis. I want to tell you all something very important and something that shall not be shared with anyone outside this room. Said Tsunade. Shouldn't Naruto be here for this if it is really that important? Said Shikamaru in a lazy tone. That's why we are here, to talk about Naruto. As you all may know, most of you in here participated in the mission to bring Sasuke back. Well, the council and their almighty wisdom decided to banish him for bringing back the Uchiha in the condition he is in now. What they can't do that, we were just bringing him back and he fought back. If anyone, it should be Sasuke. Shouted Kiba. I know, but since 75% of the council voted there was nothing I could do. Said Tsunade, now on the verge of tears. No one else said anything. They just left and Neji had to carry Hinata out of the room because she seemed to have lost her legs right when she heard Tsunade say he was banished. Later that night, in the Hyuga compound in Hinata's room, you find her packing all of her belongings. Naruto-kun, you are my inspiration. Without you I cannot train, I cannot think, I cannot even stand upright. Said Hinata in her thought. 10 minutes later, after packing her things, Hinata left out the window and headed towards West Gate. No one will ever think to look for me in the river country, thought Hinata. End flashback. So you decided to come back? Sneered Hiashi. I just came to visit Hanabi and that's all. Hinata started to walk towards the direction of her sister's room when Hiashi appeared in front of her. Hinata, I'm going to have to take you in. Chuckled Hiashi. Damn, really didn't want to have to fight him. Oh well, he asked for it and he helped vote for Naruto-kun banishment. Guess it's time for a little payback for Naruto-kun and for myself, since all he did was yell. Hinata smirked. She was going to enjoy this. Hiashi got into a Hyuga fighting stance. Hinata got into a similar stance, but not exactly like Hiashi's. Hiashi rushed forward, his hands flying by Hinata's face. Every time his hand came near, Hinata would move her head from side to side. Hinata, tired of being on the defensive, decided it was her turn. She grabbed both of Hiashi's hands as they came by. Holding both of his hands in front of her, she jumped into the air and kicked him with both feet. Hiashi flew back and hit the ground with a loud boom, causing almost all of the Hyugas and nearby people to watch the fight. Hiashi stood and got back into his stance. You know, you should have stayed down and I could have made this easier for you. Hinata said while smirking. Hinata's hands then turned light blue. Hiashi, who had already turned on his Byakugan, gasped. It was like a Rasengan glove. Her hand was swirling with chakra and it laced her fingers tight like a glove. Hinata rushed forward, pulled her hand back and swung at Hiashi. Hiashi dodged just in time, but gasped when he saw what damage her attack had done. There was a miniature-size hole in the ground big enough to fit a hairdresser into it. Hiashi didn't notice Hinata sneak up behind him. That's when he felt it. It felt like holes were being blasted into his body. Hinata had hit him at least 20 times, ensuring that he'd be down for at least 5 months at least, with another month of getting used to using your muscles again. Hinata looked at everybody before walking towards her sister's room. Naruto had been sitting on top of his father's head just watching the village. He had saw Hinata's fight and he was proud of her. He laid back and sighed. I really don't want to go talk to that fucking council, but I always have to do things that I don't want. Naruto got up and stretched before going to get some of his favorite food of all time, ramen. Naruto walked into the ramen stand and sat down on the red stools before spotting the old man that still hadn't even noticed him because he was too busy making ramen. Hey, I would like 5 miso and 5 beef ramen please, said Naruto smirking. Well, I haven't had an order like that in years, said the old man, turning around almost dropping the knife that he had in his hand. Naruto, is that you? He asked. Yeah, it's me, but can you get to the ramen? I haven't had any for like 4.5 years. Sorry, don't know the man's name on Naruto, but I do know he calls him old man, so that is what I am going to call him. The old man laughed and got the ramen for Naruto before calling out, Ayame, look who's here. Father, I already told you I don't want to marry anyone, she said, marching out from the back, but almost cried when she saw who it was. But then she blushed when she realized what she said. Naruto, you're back, she cried and ran to hug him. After eating his ramen and having a long talk with the old man and Ayame, Naruto said that he had to leave and he left the ramen stand waving goodbye. Guess it's time to get to that council meeting. Naruto snapped his fingers and Hinata and Kyuubi were by his side immediately. Well guys, time we meet Tsunade for that meeting. Naruto grabbed both of them on the shoulder and they faded in light. Tsunade was in the council room, which she always hated. It was a dim red and there was about 100 seats for the civilian and shinobi council. Tsunade's advisors, which she hated more than paperwork, which meant she really has to hate you, were sitting in the top row of seats. The civilians, who were another that Tsunade hated more than paperwork, were seated on the right side facing her, and the shinobi were on the left side facing her. Suddenly a bright light flashed. When the light dimmed down, she saw Naruto, Hinata, and Kyuubi standing right by her. Okay, since the Hikarikage and his representatives arrived, we are going to start this meeting. When everyone saw Naruto and Hinata, they were furious. What are they doing here? The demon is supposed to be banished and the Hyuga should be killed, shouted one of the members of the civilian council. Soon more shouts could be heard until the Hokage yelled, "Silence! This is the Hikarikage and he shall be treated like a cage. As for his advisors, they get the same treatment." Good, now this meeting is about my agreement with Hikarikage Dono. He has agreed to help us in this war as long as we sign the paper that agrees to him becoming one of the major villages. That's when Homura spoke up. We do need help, so every alliance we can get will be helpful, but at the same time we don't even know if their village can even help us in this war. How about a test? Kaharu suggested. We can test their cage against our future cage, Kaharu said with a smirk. And who is this future Hokage of yours? Naruto asked, praying that it was Konohamaru. He was not afraid if it was who he thought it was just that this would be another thing he got handed to him without even working hard to achieve it. That would be me dope, Sasuke said, appearing from within the darkness. Damn, I knew it, I just knew it. He always get everything first. He gets all of Kakashi's training, then he gets the villagers' praise, and now he gets the title of Hokage, thought Naruto angrily. Tomorrow morning at 1 o'clock at Training Ground 7, be there, said Homura, smirking. Naruto said nothing. He just walked out of the council room with Hinata and Kyuubi following right behind him. Naruto, what's wrong? Said Hinata in a soft voice. It's nothing, Naruto muttered. Don't lie to me. I can see it in the way you walk and the way you walk, Naruto, whispered Hinata. It's just that Sasuke gets everything handed to him, but me, I have to work 5 times harder just to even be looked at in a kind way, whispered Naruto. Well, you just going to have to kick his ass tomorrow then, and show them what they missed out on, said Hinata in a rather loud voice. Naruto was surprised to see that Hinata could actually curse, but even more that she did it on his account. Right, thanks Hinata, Naruto said with a smile. Then Naruto shunshined behind Hinata, grabbed her behind the waist and faded in light to Training Ground 7. They appeared in the middle of the field and Naruto took it all in. The grass was about ankle deep, the trees danced with the wind side to side. Naruto saw a big tree to his left, went over to it and sat down. He called Hinata over with his finger. When she came over, he snaked his hands around her waist and pulled her down into his lap. That's where they sat until they both fell asleep, with his chin on top of her head. That morning Naruto awoke to "Aw, or isn't that cute," and much other noises. He opened his eyes to see villagers, ninjas, his old friends, and the Hokage. At first he was wondering why the saying that he was cute until he realized where and how he and Hinata had fallen asleep. He bent down to Hinata's ear and whispered, "Hinata, it's time to get." His reply was her snuggling deeper into his chest and mumbling, "I don't wanna." Just like a little child. Naruto this time bent down and whispered something that no one could hear. Soon Hinata jumped up blushing madly. Naruto stood up and looked. A crowd had already formed around Training Ground 7 like a circle. Naruto moved his way through the crowd towards his opponent, Sasuke. When Naruto reached the middle of the field, they both said one thing. "Dope, Teme." And then they rushed towards each other with their fist extended. Naruto and Sasuke flew towards each other with their fist extended. When their fist met, there was a big explosion and a lot of dust. Naruto flew out one end and Sasuke out of the other. They both landed on their feet. Sasuke charged at Naruto and punched at his face. Naruto then moved his face to the side and caught Sasuke's hand and flung him to the ground. Jumping into the air and making hand signs, Sweden, Water Dragon Jutsu, Naruto yelled. A water dragon formed out of mid-air and charged at Sasuke at high speeds. Sasuke jumped up but not fast enough because the water dragon got the side of his arm which started to bleed. Damn you Dobi, Sasuke yelled. Getting mad already, Sasuke can't take a little pain, laughed Naruto. Naruto phased out of sight behind Sasuke, kicking him in the back of the head. Sasuke's head went straight into the ground. Enraged, Sasuke jumped into the air and turned on his Mangekyo Sharingan. I am going to kill you, Sasuke yelled. In the crowd the civilians were shocked. How could this be such a one-sided fight there? Sasuke-sama was losing. How could this be, said one of the civilians. Don't worry, Sasuke-sama has turned on his Mangekyo Sharingan, said the ninja. Dobi, there is no way you can beat me now. Sasuke laughed. Sasuke flew at Naruto at amazing speeds and hit Naruto in the stomach. Naruto flew back but used the momentum to flip and land on the feet. He made hand signs and yelled. Doden. Earth Palace Jutsu. A palace of rock formed around Sasuke, then proceeded to get smaller and smaller. Oh! Screamed Sasuke. Then the palace broke open to reveal Sasuke with Susanoo's Sharingan and level 2 curse mark. Sasuke, if you think you can beat me with that, you are be seriously mistaken. Naruto said. I'll show you Dobi, I'll make you regret coming to the village. Sasuke yelled. Sasuke, you have already made me regret coming to the Leaf Village. Naruto calmly said. Sasuke started to form some hand signs then yelled. Raiden, lightning storm. Lightning started to erupt from the sky, zooming towards Naruto. Naruto dodged the first and second one, but the rest were just too fast and ended up hitting Naruto in the shoulders and the legs. Damn, I didn't want to unseal these, but I guess I have to. Naruto thought. Sasuke, so it seems you have gotten a little better and I have to take you serious a little bit. Naruto said. Naruto then took his arms and formed a X with them. Yellow light started to radiate off of Naruto and then it was gone, and Naruto then got back into his fighting stance. Just because you give yourself boost with seals doesn't mean you can beat me. Sasuke spat. Actually Sasuke, these are gravity seals. They're kinda like weights but way more effective. These seals make the gravity heavier, which makes it harder to stand in, which means when I take these off I get way faster and stronger. Naruto said. Even if you are faster and stronger, I would like to see you get past Susanoo. Sasuke laughed. Naruto blurred out of sight and then appeared in front of Sasuke and punching him. Susanoo cracked. At first a little, then it got bigger and bigger until Susanoo finally broke. To the Junin and lower ninja in the crowd couldn't even follow Naruto, but to Tsunade, Jiraiya and Kakashi, because of his Sharingan they could barely see him. That's crazy, I could barely even follow him. Tsunade gasped. Homura and Kaharu, who were also in the crowd, were shocked. How could Naruto break the Susanoo with just speed and taijutsu? Sasuke was stunned. How could the Dobi break the Susanoo, which was supposed to be unbreakable with just taijutsu? Well Sasuke, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of playing around. Let's end this, shall we? And with that Naruto started forming hand signs for one last jutsu. Sweden. Raiden. Shocking waves. Waves with cracking lightning zipping across the top crashed into Sasuke. Sasuke was blown back and shocked to an unimaginable degree. Everyone stood shocked for the exception of the Hinata, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kakashi, and the rookie 9 excluding Sakura. You guys might want to give him some medical attention. Lightning mixed with water isn't a good combination when hitting someone, said Naruto, turning to look back at Sasuke. Sakura of course runs out of the crowd and to Sasuke and starts to treat him. Kyuubi appears in his usual no-shirt fox mask and black baggy pants. Hikarikage-sama, we have an emergency, could we talk in private? Kyuubi said. Yes, Hinata, you come along too. Naruto said. Then they all faded in light to the top of the Hokage Mountains. Deep down in the depths of the underworld, Isu, the new demon lord, was talking with his 3 demon generals. Spade the dragon lord, Kai the titan lord, and Fong the cyclops lord. Spade had gray scales covering his body, his teeth had sharp canines sticking out the front, but the most noticeable feature was the wings on his back. Kai was buff but still human size. He wore knight's armor except all black, and the most noticeable feature about him was his axes that he had in each hand and weighted 2 tons. Fong was fat but unlike the other people he was the tallest person in the castle. His head reached all the way to the top, which was 30 feet high. His most noticeable feature was the chain wrapped around his stomach and his one eye. Isu was what most people would say looked like a werewolf, except he wore dark red robes and a hood over his face, so all you could see was his tail sticking out the back and the dark yellow piercing eyes. Isu sat in his throne looking down at Spade and Kai but had to look up to see Fong. I have called you here today to plan out our attack on the human world. As you may know, Kyuubi is there, but he has lost some of his power, so he is not as strong, but that doesn't mean you can take him lightly. He still has enough power to take on one of you at a time. Other than that, there is no one to worry about him, Isu said. What about their cages, sir? Said Fong while chewing on an oversized piece of meat. Like their cages could defeat me. They are a 9.2 million years too young. Isu laughed. Back in the human world, Kyuubi just finished telling Naruto about the siege that was to be coming in 6 months. Isu is strong, Naruto, so I will have to train you to become strong, really strong. Even stronger than me, Kyuubi said. Hinata, we don't know who else Isu has with him, and if he has strong servants then we're going to need strong people. Kyuubi said. Right, Hinata said. Alright, tell Hinata go tell Tsunade that the village hidden in the light will help the village hidden in the leaves, but me, you and Kyuubi will not aid her personally, Naruto softly commanded. Tsunade was sleeping on her desk like usual when Hinata appeared in her office, which awoke Tsunade. Hinata, what are you doing here? Said Tsunade while wiping the slobber off her mouth. I have come to tell you that the hidden village in the light will assist the village hidden in the leaves, but me, Naruto and Kyuubi will not aid you personally. Why can't you 3 help us? Tsunade asked. So Hinata started explaining to Tsunade about Isu and his plan to attack the human world in 6 months. Naruto appeared in the Hokage's office behind Hinata and grabbed her by the waist and kissed on the cheek. Hinata blushed madly. Naruto was kissing her right in front of the Hokage. Obaa-chan, you wouldn't mind if I took Hinata to train now, would you? Naruto said. You might as well, you baka. Naruto and Hinata faded into light. Naruto and Hinata arrived on top of the Hokage's mountain where Kyuubi was waiting for them. Before I start your training you need something else to wear, something more appropriate for training. He threw Naruto and Hinata a set of clothes. These are special clothes, they are weighted, so don't put them on until tomorrow. Be ready for a 5-month-long trip. Then Kyuubi disappeared to who knows where. Naruto moaned. Him and Hinata had walked from his place to the Hokage monument, which took about 30 minutes. I see you finally made it, Kyuubi said. Well, we couldn't use our transportation jutsu because of the chakra drains on these clothes, and running is not an option because of the weight seals. Naruto said. Naruto was wearing an all-black fishnet shirt and all-black cargo pants. Hinata was wearing a lavender kimono with slits on the sides about up to her thighs. Well, at least you're not falling, that's a good thing. But know this training will be tireless, this is no joke training. When you come back you will be stronger than any mortal in this world, no one will be able to stop you. Let's just hope it's enough to beat Isu. Kyuubi said. Seeing the seriousness on Kyuubi's face, Naruto knew that this training was going to be rough. Naruto looked over at Hinata and she gave him a nod, showing him that she wasn't backing down. Alright, let's go, Naruto shouted. Wait, came a voice off in the distance. Everyone looked over to see Tsunade, Kakashi, the Rookie 9, Rock Lee, Neji, and Jiraiya. You guys didn't plan on leaving without saying bye to me, did you? Tsunade said. Of course not, Naruto said, but really in his mind he was thinking, oh, almost forgot. But that reminds me, Naruto thought. He snapped his fingers and 2 people showed up. One was obviously a tax member, he had a wolf mask and the regular tax clothes, and the other looked like a member of the hunter squad. Wolf, since you're the strongest in the tax without Kyuubi and Hinata here, I want you to lead the tax and assist Tsunade in the war against Kirigakure, Otogakure, Iwagakure. Rex, I want you, since you are the hunter squad commander, to hunt down these people. Borrow Iwa's 3rd best rock user. Delilah Otto's flute player of death, Fog Kiri's mystical fang. You both are leading the village while I am gone. Yes sir. Wolf and Rex shouted and disappeared. Tsunade, take care, Naruto said. With that, Kyuubi started making rapid hand signs and slammed his hand on the ground, shouting Demon World Transportation Jutsu. Red light surrounded all three of them and they disappeared. Naruto, Hinata and Kyuubi appeared in the underworld. The sky was bright red and there were mountains everywhere. Where are all the demons fighting? Hinata asked. Well, the underworld is a civilized place for use demons anyways. Most demons leave each other alone, it's just the D-class demons that make us look so uncivilized. D-class? Hinata said, puzzled. Well yes, those are the weak demons that can't think right and are weak but could easily kill humans with no chakra, but a genin that is trained can kill them. Then there are the C-class demons, they are a little bit harder, those require a chunin because of one they're just stronger and two they can think. B-class demons are about Junin class. A class requires high Junin. S-class demons require about Hokage level ninja. SS class, which are how strong the tree demon generals, require ninja stronger than cages than SSS class demons, which is Isu and me, but since I have my power token away I'm only as strong as SS class and you two are S class, so it's time to get you two up to speed. Kyuubi took a deep breath and yelled as loud as he could, Lola. He waited for about 10 seconds, then off the horizon when she got closer you could see that she was beautiful. She had black hair that touched the small of her back, she wore a mini skirt that showed off just the right amount of legs, and then she wore a shirt that stopped at her belly button. This is Lola Hinata, she shall be training you, she is borderline right in the middle of SS and SSS class demon. Said Kyuubi. Alright girlie, let's go. Lola said, picking up Hinata and throwing her over her shoulder, then ran off at amazing speeds. Alright Naruto, I know that you feel that a lot of your chakra drained because of the chakra drainers. So to get your chakra back to normal we're going to be doing some chakra exercises like using walking up that mountain. Kyuubi pointed to a mountain that went straight up, it was also the tallest mountain there, it had to be at least 3 miles high. Okay girl, what's your name? Lola asked. Hinata Hyuga. Hinata said confidently. Okay, well, some things to know about me, I'm a seal master, I know almost every seal there is and I'm going to teach you, and also you saw me speed, that was me running, no transportation jutsu, nothing. I know Kyuubi gave you those special clothes, he already informed me, and you with your excellent chakra control we don't have to do chakra exercises because you don't have to use high chakra jutsus, you can use just a little to make the jutsu work, and while teaching you the jutsus I'm teaching you your chakra will slowly come back. The first thing we're going to do though is fight, I want to see how good you are. Lola explained. Right, Hinata said. She got into a fighting stance and activated her Raisin Fist, while Lola got into a boxing stance. Hinata charged Lola, she struck with her Raisin Fist and hit Lola right in the face, her feet stayed planted while her whole body fell backwards, and right before her head hit the ground her head sprung back up with amazing speeds and hit Hinata with a headbutt. Hinata flew high into the air and then started to fall. Lola kneeled on the ground with her right knee and pulled her fist all the way to her side, and then when Hinata got into range Lola uppercutted Hinata right in the stomach. Hinata's eyes turned from lavender to all white noticeably and she went unconscious. Naruto and Kyuubi reached the mountain that Naruto was going to climb. Now kid, I'm going to warn you now, if you even get halfway up the mountain and you get tired, stop, because if you fall from that height you will die. Kyuubi warned. What did you say? Said Naruto, already climbing the mountain with just his feet. This kid here. Kyuubi whined. Kyuubi sat down and meditated, trying to draw in natural energy to regain all the power that he could so that he wouldn't tire from training, because Kyuubi knew that Naruto might not be as strong as him and goof off a lot, but Naruto wasn't like when he was a kid. When he fought he became serious, his battle strategies were almost on par with Shikamaru and his skills were not to be belittled. Though that was not the only reason Kyuubi was trying to draw power. If he was right, Lola was not going to fight on either side, she preferred to stay neutral in stuff like this even if it did mean the fate of the whole world. So if Lola wouldn't fight, that meant that he would have to fight 2 of the demon generals while Hinata fought 1 and Naruto fought Isu. Hinata fluttered her eyes for a while and then opened them all the way to find the exact same bright red sky and tall mountains in the background. So you finally awake, I see, said Lola. How long have I been out? Said Hinata, standing up. About 5 hours, not that long. I would have expected you to have been out for a way longer time, but I guess that you are a trooper. Laughed Lola. I think we need to work on your strength, that Raisin Fist of yours, if powerful is say, but if you were to be fighting one of the demon lords then that would not hurt at all. Lola said casually. How am I supposed to get stronger? Do I have to learn a new taijutsu? Hinata asked. No, but you can incorporate this taijutsu that I'm going to teach you with the one that you have now. It's called Dragon Fist. It's about quick hits but also powerful, though it's going to require you to close your fist. Don't worry, you can still hit chakra points, it's just going to be more harder to be accurate, but once you get it down I can start teaching you the Dragon Fist form and the chakra needed to do it. Lola then started to make hand signs and shouted. Blood clone jutsu. Then a clone appeared next to Lola. This is a blood clone, they last much longer and can take more hits and have chakra points, so practice hitting the chakra points on this blood clone. Lola said. Hinata walked over to the clone and punched it, but she didn't close a chakra point like she usually did. It's going to be hard because this is the first time it's ever been attempted, I would imagine. Lola said. Hinata then started to strike the clone over and over again. I can't give up because I know that Naruto must be going through much worse. Hinata thought, and with that started to punch faster and focus chakra to her whole hand. Hinata was right, Naruto was sweating and breathing heavy without his usual chakra. Climbing up this mountain was rough, he felt like he was going to slip any moment. He figured he was about halfway up the mountain. Naruto gathered chakra in his fist until the Rasengan formed. He shoved it into the mountain. When the smoke cleared there was a hole just big enough for Naruto to fit in and sit down, and that's where he went to sleep. About 8 hours Naruto awoke, though still hungry and a little bit tired. He started his trek up the mountain. Naruto then thought of an idea. He put his hands and arms in a X shape and said, Chakra seal release. Naruto then felt a huge chakra rush, but as soon as it came it went, damn it, I bet these damn clothes took that chakra. I bet Kyuubi has it set to take a certain amount of chakra. Damn, Naruto thought. Naruto proceeded to jog up the mountain. The chakra drainage wasn't the only thing that held Naruto back, it was also that the clothes were weighted. He guessed that the pants were at least 100 pounds and the shirt was about 50 pounds and the steel-toed boots were at least 50 pounds each. Kyuubi, now done meditating, decided that a good workout would be good. Kyuubi with a few hand seals and shouted. Earth manipulation. Kyuubi then manipulated the earth to where there was huge bench press with a bar and weights on the bar. 3,000 pounds should do, Kyuubi said out loud. Kyuubi then laid down on his back and started to bench press the 3,000-pound weights. Kyuubi did about 45 reps before a demon in all white robes appeared. Kase, what are you doing here? Kyuubi asked. Well, Lord Kyuubi, we heard about Isu uprising and the few people we have are ready to fight for you, said Kase. Well, who all do you have with you? Asked Kyuubi. We have Scythe, the Scythe Master. Scythe appeared. He wore all black robes with a black hood over his head and scythe with a skull at the top. We have Blade, the Blade Master. Blade appeared. He wore red cargo pants, black long sleeve shirt, no shoes. He had black hair that went down to his shoulders. His face was skinny like he had been starved, but his stomach and legs looked fine. Finally, my lord, me, Kase, the Wind Master. Kase wore all white robes, but his head was not covered by robes. Kase looked like a young man, probably in his early 20s, and he had white spiky hair. Also, we have at least 50 B-class warriors, Kase said. So that many people left, I guess even my generals left, but only my 3 A-class colonels are loyal to me. No sir, I don't like correcting you, but all of your ranking officer were killed off. The rest either went to Isu's side or rebelled. We only survived because we went into hiding. Kase said, disappointed. Don't be sad, you guys did the right. I am a changed demon. Once I used to be reckless and said hide from no one, but you guys did the right thing and survived so that you could help me. No, help my kid Naruto. My lord, you have a kid. Whom did you mate with, and is he the new prince then? Asked Kase, seeming to be the speaker for all of them. I never thought of it like that. I guess he is the new prince since I'm rightfully the king, but as for your first question, I have never mated with anyone. He is a human that I was sealed into, and now that he is 20, and guys, I know there was a lot of time skipping in the first chapters and that it seems as Naruto might be a lot older. I want him to be this age, and Naruto does kind of look the same as when he was a teen except a little bit more manly features. So sorry for confusion, and that might be able to help you guys imagine him a little better. I have grown to like him and call him my own. Kyuubi said. Well then for you, my lord and the new prince, shouted Kase. Hinata was sweating profusely. The blood clone chakra points were still all the way open. What was it that she wasn't doing? Maybe if I think back all the way back. Wait, that's it. Hinata thought. Flashback. Naruto was eating at Icharaka's like always, having a meal when Hinata came in. Oh hey Hinata, what's up? Naruto said. Nothing much, just got down training with father, it was rough. Hinata said, sweating. Oh yeah, I always wondered how do you guys do that Jukin thingamajig anyway. Naruto asked with a mouthful of ramen. Well, we just focus our chakra into a certain point in our hand, and then when we hit someone in the chakra point we release that focused chakra, which makes that chakra point explode in a sense, which basically cuts it off for a while. Hinata said, happy she found something to say to Naruto. Oh cool. Naruto said, not really understanding the concept. End flashback. So if I focus chakra in my middle knuckle, then I will be able to shut off the chakra points. Hinata thought. Hinata put her theory to the test and started to punch the blood clone as fast as she would with her Jukin, and it worked. One by one they all started to go away. She was doing it. She hit all of the chakra points until the blood clone exploded. I finally did it. And Hinata then promptly passed out. Good job. Tomorrow or however long you stay passed out I will start to teach you some jutsus, mainly seals and the rest of the dragon fist taijutsu. Lola thought. Lola unsealed 2 sleeping bags. She tucked Hinata into one and she hopped in the other, thinking that she had better get to sleep because she was going to need it, because she was going to be one hell of a strong girl when she woke up. I am going to pass out at this rate, Naruto said. He didn't know how close he was to the top, but he knew he was close because of the fact he couldn't see anything because of the fog up here. Naruto took one more step and realized that there was nothing but air, so that meant that he was at the top. He climbed over and laid on his back. I made it, Naruto said. Before he passed out he felt a huge chakra rush 2 times his original amount, and he still had on the chakra restricting clothes. Naruto knew when he woke up he was going to feel great. Naruto woke up to see that he was back on the ground instead of on top of the mountain where he had passed out the other day. He stood up and he felt great, no aches or pains, and his chakra had skyrocketed. It was even greater than when he did not have the chakra resisting clothes on, 2 times greater in fact. I see that you are ready to continue your training, said Kyuubi appearing from behind Naruto. Yay, I have been ready. So what are we going to learn today? New jutsus? Naruto said excitedly. Yes and no. You are going to learn to master every element, and when I say master I mean master, no just learn but master. I can teach you every element except dark and light, and yes, there is a dark and light, just they were never learned by any mortal. You will have to learn the dark and light elements from Kami and the Shinagami themselves. Nani? Yelled Naruto as loud as he could. How am I going to learn elements from Kami and Shinagami? Asked Naruto. We will worry about that later. For now I'm going to teach you wind, lightning, water, earth, and fire in that order. First off I will teach you the blood clone jutsu. It is just like the shadow clone jutsu except you bite your finger. Blood clones can take more hits and are better for training. Kyuubi explained. Wow, that's amazing, but why hasn't anyone taught me this before? It would have helped me out in a lot of fights. Naruto said. Well, because it is 2 times as much as chakra, the shadow clone. Even with your massive reserves you would be drained if you would have used them, but now that your chakra reserves have increased you can create as many blood clones as you usually create shadow clones. Kyuubi said. Got it, said Naruto. He then proceeded to bite his pointer finger, and for the shadow clone seal, except this time when 300 clones came they were all blood clones, even though they looked no different from shadow clones. Now your first step of mastering the wind is listening to the wind. If you are a true master, then if you use your chakra you can pick up sounds from miles away carried by the wind and then focus it until you only hear one voice or sound. So for a shinobi this would be an interesting technique, and not only is this useful for listening to voices, you can hear the marches of enemy shinobi and pinpoint exactly how close they are to your location. So basically you can fight with your eyes closed, since you will know how close the shinobi is to you and how fast the punch is coming and how close it is to your face or any other part of your body. To do this, have all your clones sit down and close their eyes. I'm going to go to 10 miles away and you put your chakra into the wind and see if you can pick up what I am saying. Right, I'll try, said Naruto as he sat down with his clones. Kyuubi then disappeared. Naruto then started to put his chakra into the wind. He could at first hear nothing, but then he pumped a little bit more and he could hear much more clearly. Naruto struggled at first, but then he could make out faint sounds of "Brat, can you hear me?" Although Naruto could hear Kyuubi, it was almost just a whisper. He applied a little more chakra and he could hear Kyuubi just perfect. You should have gotten it by now, so I'm going to move away now. I'm going to move to a distance of 35 miles. Naruto applied more chakra but found that the sounds were starting to get more blurry. Naruto, not being a kid anymore, quickly found out the problem. It was he wasn't focusing his chakra, he was just putting it out there. Naruto shrank his chakra so it would just flow with the wind, and it worked. He could hear Kyuubi again. blabbering about how stupid Naruto was and making other comments. "I can hear you," Naruto said. "I know," said Kyuubi, appearing behind Naruto like he usually did. "Now for the next phase of your Wind Master training. I'm going to cast a wind jutsu and you're going to sit there and take it while trying to make it so the jutsu doesn't affect you." "Nani, it is going to affect me, that's what jutsus do," screamed Naruto. "Not necessarily, you see, you were born with the infinity to wind, and if you practice long enough and get the technique down it won't affect you. We're also going to do this with every other element except they're still going to hurt, just not as much. If you say so, but if I do, oh man, are you in trouble? Before we start, I'm going to give you a hint, let your chakra flow out of you and relax. Oh, and dismiss your blood clones, that will help you with the hearing the wind." Naruto dismissed the clones. "Alright, I'm ready to start the pounding," said Naruto, excited. Kyuubi started hand seals and then said, "Fuuton. Great Gale Wind." Kyuubi then put his fingers in front of his mouth and blew as hard as he could. Naruto was immediately blown back, but he was still on his feet but barely. Naruto put his hand in front of his face, then shouted to Kyuubi, "What the hell, you must be trying to kill me." Kyuubi's response was to say nothing. Naruto remembered what Kyuubi had said. He relaxed, then he let his chakra flow out of him. It was a little better, but he was still being pushed. Naruto was starting to get cuts on his skin. He released more chakra and the wind became stronger. Naruto then remembered what Kyuubi had told him earlier, "Relax." It played in his mind for a bit and then he realized he wasn't relaxed, his muscles were tight and he was trying to force his chakra to go with the wind. All he really needed to do was let his chakra flow out of him and not do anything except let it flow with the wind. Naruto relaxed, loosened his muscles and let his chakra flow out of him with the wind, and to Naruto's surprise it worked, even though the jutsu was coming at him full force. "Yes, I did so. Am I Wind Master now?" "Well, technically yes, but on my standards no. What good is a Wind Master without good Wind Master jutsus?" Kyuubi said, grinning. Naruto grinned as well, knowing that he was going to learn some new awesome jutsus. No matter how old Naruto got or how mature when it came to jutsu, he always acted like a little kid. Hinata had been awake for about 4 hours and she had been running laps ever since. "Okay girlie, we're going to continue to the next phase of your taijutsu training," said Lola. "Now the point of the dragon taijutsu is the quick punches, and most importantly you don't even have to touch them, just get close enough within centimeters and they will feel the blow. Here, try it on the blood clone I created," Lola said. Hinata went up to the clone and punched at it, and within a few centimeters then she brought her hand back. The clone wasn't affected though. Hinata looked confused. "Ha ha ha, yay, that only works with Wind Masters. Only Wind Masters can punch at something and the blow is still felt, but there is a way around that," Lola said, talking a little bit faster so Hinata could not speak. "How's that?" Hinata asked. "Well, that's going to be easy. All you have to do is make dragons around your fist, just the heads. That will be easy to with your chakra control," Lola said. Hinata did as was told and made dragons around her fist with her chakra. They were all blue and had whiskers that hang down from their cheeks. "Good, that will do. Now try to hit the clone again," Lola said, smirking. Hinata didn't know what was going to happen, but she tried it anyways. She went up to the clone and punched, and within centimeters she stopped and pulled back. Instantly the clone went flying. Hinata turned on her Byakugan and she gasped. Half of the clone's chakra points had been obliterated. "Wow, what punch, no one's going to want to mess with you anymore, haha," laughed Lola. "This taijutsu is amazing," said Hinata with wide eyes, still staring in the direction of the clone, which was now out of sight. "Yes, it is, and now just imagine if you had landed the whole punch. That demonstration was just for you to see that you didn't even have to touch the person, because as you know, most shinobis dodge attacks just narrowly, and now even if they dodge your punch narrowly you will still hit them," explained Lola. "So what's next, Lola Shisho?" Hinata said, now calling Lola Shisho for the newfound respect she has for her. "Well, now I'm going to teach you some jutsu and then some of my most famous seals. First the jutsu, and since your elements are water and earth, that's what I shall be teaching you. This first one is called Hydra, is creates a 5-headed water dragon," Lola said. "But Lola Shisho, there's no water around here. How are we going to do water jutsus with no water?" questioned Hinata. "Simply, girlie, we are going to take the water from the air," Lola said, smiling, liking the reaction on Hinata's face. "How only the second Hokage could do that," said Hinata. Well, you have an advantage since you have the Byakugan. All you have to do is turn on your Byakugan and apply more chakra to your eyes, and then you will be able to see the water particles, then you can bring them in for the jutsu. Lola explained. Hinata did as was told and turned on her Byakugan, then applied more chakra to her eyes, and there they were, water particles, but they really looked like dust, but it was water. The first Hokage must have known that there were water particles in the air and just used his chakra to draw them in. Said Hinata. Right, but you can see them, so that will make this much more easier. Said Lola. So how long do you think this is going to take? Asked Hinata. Well, not too long. The water jutsu I'm going to teach you are Hydra, Whirlpool, which makes a whirlpool under your enemies and drags them under to who knows where, and then I'll teach you Water Wall, which makes a huge wall of water to protect you from attacks. The Earth jutsu I'm going to teach you are Earth Spikes, which makes spikes come out of the ground or any surface which is made of some type of rock or earth. Steel Armor, which makes armor of steel form around you but for only 10 minutes, and last but not least Earth Armor, except this time it covers your enemies so they can't breathe whenever they're touching any earth material, and you cast the jutsu it starts to creep up their legs till they're all the way covered. Lola explained. Naruto had mastered all of the elements with the help of his clones. He now had a body hard as rock from having all the rocks thrown at him. He could hold his breath for 30 minutes because of being submerged in water. He could take on a B-class lightning jutsu and it would only be a fourth of what it was originally. He could stand high temperatures from being roasted by Kyuubi so much, and last but not least he was immune to wind jutsu. The jutsu I taught you will help you a lot, and since you haven't got to test them yet, and I know you have been itching to ever since, you can test them on one of these mountains here. Kyuubi said, pointing to 5-mile-high mountains behind him. Finally I can test these new awesome jutsu. Naruto walked past Kyuubi and stopped about half a mile from the mountains. He rapidly started hand seals and then shouted. Fuuten. Great Fox Pack Jutsu. 5 foxes mad of wind formed in front of Naruto. Naruto pointed to the mountain and said, tear that mountain to shreds. The foxes ran at the mountain at unimaginable speeds. The foxes getting there in no time all latched onto the mountains with their mouths and then exploded with sharp wind blades, chopping up the mountain like it was nothing, leaving small pebbles. Naruto turned towards the next mountain. He started hand seals then shouted. Suiten. Rain of Hell Jutsu. Rain that looked like senbon started to descend on the mountain and they stuck into the mountain. Naruto walked over to take a look at the third mountain. He then started his hand seals and shouted. Raiden. Lighting of Zeus Jutsu. Lighting started to rain down on the mountain like mad. It was a beautiful but deadly display as the mountain had been reduced to mere pebbles. Naruto rapidly started hand seals and shouted. Doden. Earthquake. The fourth mountain started to shake until it collapsed. Naruto then started on the fifth mountain. He started his hand seals and shouted. Kaden. White fire. White fire started to consume the mountain until there was nothing left, not even ashes. Wow, Kyuubi Shisho, this is amazing. I could own any punk-ass demon with these jutsu. Bring it on, Isu, anytime, anywhere. Yelled Naruto, feeling invincible. Kyuubi smiled and said, now you're all pumped. You know you have to meet the Shinagami and Kami themselves. See Shinagami first and then Kami. To see Shinagami you're going to have to go to hell, which is worse than this place. That is where the undead army the Shinagami has. That's where the baddest humans and baddest demons go. To get will be easy. I can give you a ride there since I am officially still the king of the underworld, so I can use this jutsu to get to hell. Once you get to hell and meet Shinagami, and if he teaches you then he can get you to Kami. Remember to be nice. Shinagami is 5 times stronger than Isu, so he could kill you easily. Any questions? Kyuubi asked. No, Kyuubi Shisho, I will get training from Shinagami and Kami. Said Naruto. Good, I'm going to start the jutsu. Be careful, there are things down there that make cages look like babies. Kyuubi started hand seals and then shouted. Hell Transfer Jutsu. A dark light surrounded Naruto and then Naruto disappeared down to the depths of hell. Naruto found himself staring around hell, for the place he was at looked far worse looking than the underworld. It had an all-black sky, though somehow he could still see, barely. It looked like he was in a village, though there were no houses, just a little fence. Numerous amounts of bones that surrounded a wide area and lots of skeletons walked around. Naruto stared ahead and saw a huge black castle. Though it was miles away, he would at least reach it by the end of the day. Surely the Shinagami had to reside there. He took off, getting to the end of the village in no time and hopped the small fence made of bones. As soon as he touched the ground his senses screamed that something wasn't right, but Naruto, determined to meet the Shinagami, ran ahead. Naruto ran for about 5 more hours before he heard a voice behind him. "Don't go any further. My name is Kong, and as one of Shinagami-sama's most loyal servants, I can't let you take another step." Kong shouted. Kong was another skeleton, except he was the size of at least 2 grown men. "Sorry, but I can't do that. I must meet the Shinagami for training, and if you try to stop me I will be forced to kill you," growled Naruto, glaring at Kong. Kong's response was to disappear and reappear in front of Naruto, punching him hard in the stomach. Naruto flew back before he used the momentum to flip, landing on his feet. He jumped just in time out reach of Kong's punching fist. While in the air, Naruto started rapid hand seals and shouted, "Kaden! White Inferno Jutsu!" White fire traveled from Naruto's mouth to Kong. Kong moved but not fast enough, and the fire touched the tip of his finger and quickly spread to the rest of him, burning him until nothing was left. Man, that guy can pack a punch. He must have been a taijutsu master when he was alive. Naruto thought out loud. "You are correct, I was a taijutsu master," said Kong as he rose from the ground in a new skeletal form. This time he was normal human size. "How? You were burned to a crisp by my white inferno jutsu," Naruto yelled in disbelief. I just got a new body. You see, there's bones buried all around here, and I can regenerate myself whenever my bones get destroyed," Kong informed Naruto with a smirk planted on his bony jaws. Naruto charged Kong at a crazy speed. About halfway there he started hand seals and shouted, "Doden imprisonment jutsu." A wall of earth surrounded Kong. "If I can't kill you, I bet I can trap you. That way you can't regenerate and I can get to the Shinagami." Naruto then continued his path to the Shinagami, leaving the trapped Kong behind. "Hinata, you have mastered the Dragon Fist Taijutsu, learned some new jutsu, and learned some of my best seals," Lola announced, looking at Hinata with proud eyes. "So, is this it?" questioned Hinata. "No, I still have more to teach you. I just wanted to tell you what you have accomplished so far, and for mastering the Dragon Fist Taijutsu I got you this," said Lola, handing Hinata some new clothes. They still drained chakra and waited, but they can be reverted to normal clothes by saying, "Clothing seal deactivate. But you should only use this when you're in a fight and you're losing. Now put them on." Hinata unfolded the clothes and put them on, feeling kind of awkward with Lola staring at her even though they were both girls. Hinata finished putting on the clothes and was amazed. She looked great. She was wearing a lavender skin-tight see-through spandex that went to her ankles. Then she wore a mini-skirt that stopped halfway from her knees, which were also lavender, a shirt that was an all-white tank top with lavender dragons going around, a lavender fishnet shirt that went to her elbow, and to top it off she had lavender sandals, so she in her opinion looked fabulous. "Oh, thank you so much, Lola Shisho." Hinata swooned. "No problem, you look gorgeous. Now we can continue your training in style," commented Lola while pulling out a scroll. "This is the summoning scroll for the falcons. This way you can summon messenger birds that fly way faster than non-summoned ones. Also you can summon spy falcons, or you can summon really big falcons. Well, big enough for you to stand on at least. Just sign your name in blood on the contract and you will be able to summon them." Lola unrolled the scroll so Hinata could sign her name. Hinata bit her thumb while bent down on her knee, then wrote her name on the summoning contract. "Good, now that is done, you can try summoning them here just to see what it's like. All you have to do is bite your thumb and do these hand seals. Depending on how much chakra you put in, is how big of a bird you're going to get," Lola told Hinata after she showed her the hand seals. Hinata bit her thumb while going through the hand seals and slammed her hand on the ground. After the smoke cleared, it revealed a falcon about the size of 2 soda cans. "Hello, my name is Carrie. Which one of you is my new master?" asked Carrie the falcon. "I am, but I really don't like being called master. You can call me Hinata, also think of us as partners," replied Hinata. "Ah, you have a kind heart. Oh, leader will truly love you. As matter of fact, he wants to meet you right now. Summon him." Carrie squeaked with delight. Hinata nodded, biting her thumb and doing the seals. This time she put a lot more chakra into it and slammed her hand on the ground. After the large puff of smoke cleared, it revealed a falcon the size of a house. "Hello, Hinata, I just wanted to introduce myself to you. As the leader of the Falcon clan, it just wouldn't be right to not introduce myself. My name is Kane. I think you and me will get along just fine." said Kane as he disappeared, leaving just Hinata, Lola, and Carrie. "Hinata, my training with you is done. I have taught you all that there is to know. Here, take this." Lola handed Hinata a ring that had a silver loophole, but there was a white diamond that obviously had the kanji for taijutsu master engraved in it. "This Hinata can only be achieved by a few. You're a real taijutsu master. There are only 5 taijutsus that when mastered can give someone the title of taijutsu master, and the dragon fist taijutsu is one of them," Lola informed Hinata. "Wait, what am I supposed to do with no master? I still need to get stronger," shouted Hinata. "You are already strong. You were right in the middle of SS rank and triple SSS rank, and to test that, how about a fight between you and me? Everything is allowed," Lola asked, smiling. "Alright, we can do that, but it won't be as one-sided as last time," Hinata confidently spoke, also smiling. The wind blew hard for about 5 seconds, 5 long seconds, but as soon as it stopped, both fighters took that as a signal to go. Hinata launched at Lola at incredible speeds. Lola started rapid hand signs and yelled out, "Doden, Earth Barrier." It created a barrier between her and Hinata. Hinata punched the barrier with full power and the earth shattered like it was glass. Hinata continued her advance while Lola kept her distance, knowing that the Dragon Fist Taijutsu combined with the Juken was a very, very deadly combination. Hinata started more hand seals and shouted, "Sweden, geyser." Geysers of water erupted out of the ground. Lola successfully dodged 3 but was not so lucky for the 4th one. It hit her dead on, causing her to shoot up in the air. Lola wasn't done yet, for she started hand seals of her own and called out, "Sweden, Water Dragon Jutsu." A dragon formed of water charged at Hinata. Hinata, not having time to start another jutsu, did the only thing she thought was logical: dragon versus dragon. She cocked back her fist with her dragon fist still activated, and right when the water dragon got close, Hinata met the dragon head-on with her fist. The result was a huge explosion of water. The water dragon stood no chance against Hinata's fist. She realized something: there was so much water on the ground that her feet splashed when she moved, and this was a great chance for that jutsu. She began doing hand seals and shouted out, "Sweden, Hydra." The 5-headed water monster of doom appeared and looked at Lola as if she were nothing. All 5 heads charged at Lola. Lola dodged 2 of the heads, but the other 3 caught her and entangled her, while the other 2 came back around and slammed into her. Hinata released the jutsu, seeing Lola had her head down. She passed out, Hinata thought. She strolled to Lola to treat her, but when Hinata bent over her, Lola shot her head up and headbutted her. While Hinata flew backwards, Lola jumped behind her, then kicked her upwards. Hinata's body jerked upwards. Lola bent her knee to the ground as she got ready for another one of her mighty uppercuts, except this time she had her dragon fist activated. When Hinata's body got into range, Lola uppercutted her in the stomach. Hinata's eyes turned complete white as she rolled onto the ground. Lola was surprised when 2 hands came out of the ground and pulled her under until nothing but her head was left, and then the real Hinata jumped out as the blood clone dispersed, leaving faint amounts of blood on the ground. "I would never fall for that one. Lola Shisho, that's one of the oldest tricks in the book. Fake passing out, then when the enemy gets into one of your jutsu's ranges or taijutsu ranges, you attack," laughed Hinata, smirking. "Well, I should have known better, but can you please get me out of here?" Lola whined. Hinata punched the ground with her fist and it broke, allowing Hinata to reach her hand in and grab Lola to yank her out. "What do I do now, Lola-sensei? I have no one to train with," Hinata complained. "Well, you could always go back to the human realm and help with the war." "I mean, you are one of their leaders, aren't you?" asked Lola. "Well, how do you get back?" asked Hinata. "I can send you back with this jutsu, just stand still and I can transport you back to Konaha," Lola ordered as she started some hand seals, then said, "Earth transfer jutsu." Then she touched Hinata's head and Hinata vanished from mid-air. Naruto found himself looking at a huge castle wall that easily was 10 times taller than Gamabunta. Naruto decided to do that right thing and knock. He knocked 3 times, which all made great big booms. The doors slowly crept open. As soon as he walked on the other side of the wall, the gates slammed shut at unimaginable speeds for such a big gate. Naruto walked to the main castle doors and knocked again. These doors opened and Naruto stepped in to find dark floors, dark hallways, and on the walls there were pictures of skeletons and people being dragged by skeletons down to hell. There were 3 main passages, 2 that lead left or right, and 1 down the middle. The Shinagami most obviously be down the middle hallway since that is like the main hallway. Naruto thought. Naruto strolled down the middle hallway. There were more passages that mostly lead to countless places, but Naruto continued to follow the middle path. He was going with his instinct on this one. He finally reached two 15-foot doors. Remembering what he saw in the movie about kings and queens, he knocked on the door twice and then pushed the door open, walking in. The first thing he saw was a big black chair decorated with black diamonds with a skeleton covered in black robes holding a scythe sitting in it. Naruto thought nothing of it and looked around the room. There was nothing to the room really, just some simple furniture like old worn-out tables and desk with papers lying around. Not what you would have expected. The skeleton in the chair spoke. "Who are you?" Naruto questioned. Me I am the Shinagami, of course. Laughed Shinagami. "Oh. Well, I'm sorry, I guess, hello, I was wondering if you could train me in dark elements because you see I really have to defeat this bad guy named Isu and he is going to take over the human world if I don't kill him," explained Naruto while rubbing the back of his head. "And why should I get involved by training you?" the Shinagami asked. "Well, after he takes the human world he might try to come here and build up a resistance while gathering all of the nine-tailed demons, kill you, then go for Kami and take over the whole universe," shouted Naruto. The Shinagami smirked, his smirk became a smile, his smile became a grin, and his grin became a laugh. "I like you, kid, you're the first person to make me laugh in 500,000 years. I will train you but only on one condition. You beat this Isu fellow." Shinagami laughed. "Oh, thanks a million. You don't even know how grateful I am. I will never forget this," rejoiced Naruto, happy to be trained by someone who has been around for almost ever. "Follow me." The Shinagami stood, but instead of walking, he floated just barely over the ground while his robes still draped the floor. He led Naruto through countless passages before he finally got to a door, pushing it open. This led to what was a huge field with dead trees and bushes and no grasses whatsoever. The field seemed to go on for miles and miles. "This is where we shall train, but first we need to get you something more fitting." Shinagami snorted. He clapped his hands together. Out came another skeleton, but as soon as he saw the Shinagami he dropped to both knees and put his head on the ground. "Go get him some more training appropriate, clothes more of my liking," Shinagami muttered. The other skeleton rushed off, but it didn't take long for it to get back. He or it handed Naruto the clothes and then quickly went away. Naruto threw off his old clothes and put on his new ones. He now wore an all-black hiyori that tightened around the arms and was jagged like it was torn at the bottom. Think of Ichigo's Bankai Hiyori except with nothing under it. He wore black cargo pants with black ninja sandals. When the wind blew it showed off his well-toned stomach since he had no shirt under his hiyori. "Well, don't you look sharp, now let's get to training," Shinagami teased with an evil smile. Well, as much as a smile as a skeleton can get. The Shinagami started off Naruto's training with some stretches before he moved to some of the real stuff. "Okay. Boy, that is enough stretching, now come close and watch closely. Dark chakra is not something that can be mastered easily. It takes practice, years and years of practice, but from what I hear your shadow clones will make this easily mastered," stated the Shinagami. "I can make clones, but I've got blood clones now. They are much more efficient and last longer," Naruto informed his new master. "If you want dark chakra you're going to have to go deep in your soul for it. This isn't a walk in the park either, or is that what humans say that nowadays? Anyway, you have to go deep. Almost all the bad things that have happened to you are used to create dark chakra. Once you mold everything bad that has happened to you, you get dark chakra. Trust me, I know your life story and you might be thinking it's going to be a piece of cake, but it's not, especially since you are trying to put that behind you. It's going to be hard to put it all together," explained the Shinagami. "So I just go inside of my soul, take all the bad things that happened to me and basically use that as a fuel to get dark chakra?" asked Naruto. "Yes, in a sense, but it's rather hard. Even the most notorious villains on your world cannot harvest dark chakra with all the bad things that happened to them or all the bad things they have done, and that is because putting it together can only be achieved by putting it all behind you so that you won't be taken over by the dark chakra. For instance, Orochimaru, his parents were killed. Later in life he found out about dark chakra and tried to use it, but he couldn't because he couldn't let go that his parents were killed, and if he would have tried to use the dark chakra he would have instantly been taken over by dark chakra. You have to let go of those things but still be aware of them. Do not become emotionless and not care about a single thing because that does not help you use dark chakra. The whole point is to put something behind you but still care. Shinagami preached to Naruto. Right, Naruto said, not really getting it. Now sit down and meditate and enter your mind frame, then go deeper and deeper until you hit your soul. This is where you will be able to access dark chakra. Naruto did as was told, sat down and started meditating. He slowly but surely entered his mind frame. There were no more sewers but more like empty space that had a narrow passage. Naruto followed it, but as he walked he thought, if I had never released Kyuubi I would have never been able to get to my soul because he was blocking it. I would have even had a chance to master dark chakra. Naruto thought. He followed the dark corridor until he walked into a room with a bright white ball levitating in the middle of the room. He walked up to it and touched it. This automatically brought Naruto back to when he was a kid. Kids were running around having fun playing ninja and other sports. Naruto walked over to the sandbox to play with some of the kids, but they immediately turned him down. Get away from here, my mommy told me not to play with you and that you are some kind of monster, said one of the kids. Soon the rest started to follow suit and started throwing sand and rocks at Naruto until he finally left. Naruto walked on until he passed the academy. 3 men who were drunk and just hated Naruto followed Naruto as he passed by. Naruto, sensing someone following him, turned and saw the 3 men. Naruto picked up his speed, but it was too late. One of the men jumped at him and grabbed his legs. Naruto could do nothing as they dragged him into the back alley. He screamed for help, but none of the passerbys would do anything. They just minded their own business. The 3 men proceeded to beat Naruto until he passed out from the pain, and then they left him there for him to die. He would have died if it wasn't for a passing ninja that rescued him by taking him to the hospital. After recovering from the beating, Naruto left the hospital and went back to his apartment. Along the way he received countless glares. Naruto finally reached his house. He quickly went inside, locked his door, went to his bed, hopped in and went right to sleep. Naruto awoke to find himself at his current age. He didn't know what was going on, but he was still sad and angry at all those people for everything they did. He left his apartment to find people greeting him with respect. The kids that were playing in the sandbox when he was younger were now grown men and were inviting him over for drinks. The 3 men that had beaten him were now old and asking him to a friendly game of poker, and all of the glaring villagers were waving at him and saying hi to him. But when he looked at them, all he could remember was the glares, the hate, the beatings. He tried to let go, but he couldn't. He still remembered everything, but he didn't want to be mad anymore. This was his time to prove that he wasn't a demon like everybody thought. But that was it. He had to remember the past but not dwell on it. He had gotten the clue that the Shinagami had given him and now he was ready. Everything started to fade away until Naruto again found himself under the black sky and in the huge training field. That was fast. It only took you 4 days. The only people who have mastered dark chakra are the people that lived in hell, and the record for mastering the dark chakra is 1 week, but you have mastered it in only 4 days. What a feat, ha ha ha. Shinagami laughed. Well, now that you have mastered dark chakra, we can go ahead and start the jutsu and taijutsu training. Hinata found herself dead in the middle of Konoha. It was night time. Looking at the moon, it seemed to be around 10 p.m. She wasted no time getting to the Hokage's office, where she found herself staring at Jiraiya, Tsunade, Wolf, and Rex. Hello, I'm done with my training, so I am here to help lead the war, said Hinata. Good, Hinata, now that you're here, that's one more person to help, said Tsunade. So Rex, how far are you to completing your assignment? Hinata asked, instantly assuming leader mode. Ma'am, I have completed my assignment with my hunter squad. Iwe has lost Baro, Kiri has lost Fog, and Otto has lost Delilah, said Rex. Good, and Wolf, what are the updates on the enemy's movements? Asked Hinata. Well, ma'am, Iwe, Kiri, and Otto have no reported movements, reported Wolf. That is bad. Well, Wolf and Rex, have your men and Chunin and Junin assemble here by tomorrow. I have a bad feeling that something going to happen and I don't like. Yes, ma'am, both shouted while disappearing. Wow, what a fierce leader. I bet you're fierce in other things too, Jiraiya said, implying heavily before Tsunade slammed his face into the ground. Hinata blushed only a little before becoming serious again. So Hinata, how was the training? Asked Tsunade. It was great, I have gotten a lot stronger, said Hinata confidently. What about Naruto, is he still training? Asked Kakashi, who suddenly popped up. I believe so. I was not informed on how Naruto's training was going. Answered Hinata. Actually Naruto training is doing fine. At the moment he is training with the Shinagami and I would like to think that my student is doing fine. But knowing the Shinagami he might not be. Said Kyuubi trying to recall. Nani, everyone screamed. Yeah, I taught him all I could, so I sent him off to the Shinagami to learn how to use dark chakra and learn some dark jutsu. After he gets done training with the Shinagami he is going straight to Kami. Anyways Hinata, you and I are going to stay here in the human world to help fight the other humans from Kiri, Otto, and Iwa. But as soon as we defeat them we got to be ready for Isu. I have already informed Chunin and Up about Isu. I told Geninta, but I just told them that another enemy besides Iwa, Kiri, and Otto was attacking, so they are ready to evacuate citizens at any moment's time. Said Tsunade. Good, that shall make it much easier for us, said Hinata. I think it would also be best if we were to retire for tonight, it is getting late. Yes, I think that would be good for all of us. You can stay in the Grand Hotel 2 blocks away from here. Said Tsunade. Thank you very much, I will much appreciate that. I will take a lot off me sleeping in a nice bed. Said Hinata. I think I will sleep in that tree right by your office, Tsunade. It seems comfortable, have a good night. Said Kyuubi as he opened the window and hopped onto the tree that was next to the Hokage's office. Hinata just took the door and walked down the street to the hotel. It was for sure a grand hotel. Almost as tall as the Hokage's office. Hinata walked inside. The floor was made of marble. The desks were also made of marble and the roof was again made of marble. There were statues of Hokages and ninja all around. What a fitting hotel. Hinata walked up to the receptionist, asked for her room and went up to her room. She opened the door, fell on the king-sized bed and went to sleep. Boom, Hinata woke up. What was that? She asked herself. That is Otto, Kiri, and Iwa attacking. I just came to wake you. Said Kyuubi. Kyuubi Taicho, Hinata Taicho. Said Rex and Wolf. We came to inform you that we have brought all Chunin and Up ninja here. They have already begun to engage the enemy. Said Rex. Yes, the attacks are moving to combat the higher-ranked ninja of the enemy villages. Said Wolf. The hunters are also moving and killing higher-ranked ninja of the enemy villages. Said Rex. Good, now we four have to get going to Tsunade to see what her plans are. Said Kyuubi. They all took off to the Hokage's office. They reached the Hokage's office within seconds. Tsunade and Jiraiya were waiting. Tsunade, what are your plans for the attacking ninja? Asked Kyuubi, being straightforward. I will let Jiraiya answer that since he knows who is attacking from his spy network. Said Tsunade. Right, well, our main threat is Madara. He has joined Otto, which means he has teamed up with Orochimaru. So we have to watch out for the Akatsuki to, since they are all under Madara. What, Jiraiya? That is impossible. Madara has been dead for a long time now. Tsunade said. No, I learned from my top spy that he hasn't been dead and he has been leading the Akatsuki for a long time now. I know what you're thinking, how could you spy find this out? Well, it makes sense when my spy is Itachi. Said Jiraiya. As if on cue, Itachi arrived in the room in his old Anbu outfit. Sasuke arrived right after him. Every looked at both of them, ready for Sasuke to erupt, but it never happened. Don't worry, me and Sasuke worked everything out. Itachi said. How are we supposed to trust him, Jiraiya? Jiraiya sighed, then filled them in on why Itachi murdered the Uchiha clan. I guess it will benefit us since he is one more person to help fight. Said Tsunade, but not completely trusting him. Yes, but the main people we need to worry about are Madara, Pain, Orochimaru, Iwa's Tsuchikage Onoki, Kiri's Mizukage Mei, Zetsu, and Kabuto. Kabuto has gotten much stronger thanks to Orochimaru experiments. For those of you wondering why I didn't say Otto, that is because Orochimaru is Otto's cage. For those who don't know, we the powerful people on our side are Tsunade, Kyuubi, Hinata, Rex, Wolf, Itachi, Sasuke, and me. Said Jiraiya. What happened to the rest of the Akatsuki? Asked Hinata. Well, I killed all of the ones I could secretly. Said Itachi. Good, that makes it easier for us now. I think it's about time we get in this fight. Kyuubi said. As if on cue, they all went their separate ways on the battlefield. Each one is determined to win. Naruto was currently shoving down anything that the kitchen servants were giving him. They were bringing out food for him since he hadn't eaten in 4 days. Okay Naruto, I think it's time that we get to learn these jutsu that I have to teach you. said Shinagami. That instantly got Naruto's attention. He stopped eating and went over to Shinagami. The first jutsu I want to teach you is called Chains of Hell. They drag anybody that it is casted on down to hell, said Shinagami. What's so scary about hell? It's not at all what I have been told it's supposed to be like, said Naruto. Well, that because when you came down here you were in the nicest part of hell. Far beyond my castle there are creatures that can rip apart S-rank demons any day. In hell we don't call them demons, they are called creatures, said Shinagami. I see, good thing I came down this way, I sure wouldn't want to fight hordes of S-rank and higher creatures, said Naruto. Anyways, back to the jutsu. Here are the hand signs. Shinagami showed Naruto the hand signs for Chains of Hell. Now try it out, Shinagami told Naruto. Naruto did the hand signs and shouted, Chains of Hell. Black chains came out of the ground and grabbed a kitchen servant that was cleaning up the food that was outside. The chains grabbed both of the skeleton's arms and legs and began dragging him to the spot where they came out of the ground, but then they stopped. The only reason the chains didn't drag the skeleton into hell is because we are already in hell, said Shinagami. I see, said Naruto as he looked at the skeleton, kind of freaked out that it went back to cleaning as if nothing ever happened. The next jutsu I'm going to teach you is called Black Hole. This jutsu will suck anything into a dark abyss for eternity. Like I said, anyone, so you have to be careful, but all you have to do is do the hand seals and hold your hand out. A black hole opens up in the middle of your palm and sucks in anything. As the items or people get closer they get smaller and go into the black hole, explained Shinagami. He showed Naruto the hand signs. Now look at all those dead trees over there, Shinagami said, pointing to thousands of dead trees that were behind them. I want you to sweep all of them up with the black hole jutsu, said Shinagami. Shinagami stood to the side as Naruto went the hand signs for the jutsu. Naruto then called out, Black hole jutsu. He held out his hand and sure enough, as Shinagami said, a black hole formed in the middle of Naruto's hand. It began sucking in everything in front of it, which was trees, grass, and bones. Naruto cancelled the jutsu when there was nothing left except for dirt. I will teach you one last jutsu before I send you off to that blasted brother of mine's Kami, said Shinagami. Nani, Kami is your brother? Yelled Naruto. Yes, we are both brothers. Oh, how I hate him. We are complete opposites. Oh well, at least I don't have to see him, said Shinagami before he started to mumble things like blasted brother. Okay, well, can we get back to the jutsu learning? Asked Naruto, getting tired of hearing Shinagami ramble. Oh yes, of course. The last jutsu I'm going to teach you is the most powerful one. It's called Black Stars of Death. This jutsu is the most deadly because it has the potential to destroy a whole village if enough chakra put into it, and with the amount of chakra you have you could destroy 2 whole villages. Now this jutsu is anywhere from a rank to SSS rank depending on how much dark chakra you put into it. Here are the hand signs. Shinagami showed Naruto the hand signs, then said, I will be right back. Shinagami vanished. Naruto looked in the direction that Shinagami went, and not too long he saw the rise of a huge castle of earth. Shinagami appeared back at Naruto's side. Now that I have made that castle, I want you to destroy it with the Black Stars of Death jutsu, said Shinagami. Naruto looked at the castle. It was huge, but he knew it had to be at least 10 miles away, but he could still see it clearly. He took a deep breath, then started the hand seals and shouted, Black Stars of Death jutsu. 8 black stars started to form in the sky in the shape of an octagon. The octagon of stars faced the castle. Each star then shot out a ray of dark light to the center of the octagon. The light from each star met. After about 2 seconds, a small light that had to be at least 3 inches thick shot from the middle of the light made by the stars. It traveled fast and hit the huge castle. For about 10 seconds nothing happened, but then boom. The castle exploded. It was amazing. Naruto put only enough chakra for that to be an SS rank jutsu. He didn't even want to know what a SSS rank amount of chakra would have done. He stood wide-eyed for about 20 seconds just staring at the destroyed castle, which was now just small chunks of rock. Impressive, isn't it? Asked Shinagami. That jutsu is amazing, shouted Naruto. He would always act like a child when it came to really big jutsu that caused a lot of damage. Yes, I know, but I think it's time for you to go. I really don't wish for you to stay. I have things I must do, said Shinagami. He started hand seals, then slammed his hand on the ground. A dark light surrounded Naruto and then he disappeared. Naruto arrived at what seemed like a garden. There were flowers of all colors and all kinds. He looked around and noticed the all-blue sky, the beautiful fields with flowers, waterfalls, rivers, lakes, trees, bushes, and the greenest grass. He also noticed the villages, big villages that were surrounded by these beautiful fields. There were also people with wings on their back. He figured that they were angels. But the thing that caught his eye the most was the huge castle that was made of the finest stone that seemed to sparkle. It was in the middle of all of the villages and fields. Naruto figured that Kami was going to be in the castle. Just as he was about to take off towards the castle, he heard a voice that said, "Welcome to heaven, this is my paradise and I am Kami." Naruto stared at Kami. This was the guy that he and almost all people believed in. Now he was staring at him face to face. "Please child, stop gaping. I know why you are here and I have come to meet you," Kami said. Naruto nodded, then asked, "So are you going to train me?" Naruto hoped that Kami would say yes. "Of course, this is why I have come to meet you. I'm saving you a trip to my palace, because what seems like it would only take a few hours would really take few weeks, and I know that you don't have that kind of time." Naruto felt honored Kami had come to meet him head on, but now was not the time to be all happy. Naruto got more serious. He bowed his head and said, "Please take me to where we are going to train." Kami snapped his fingers and they arrived in a clearing with beautiful green grass that spread for almost a mile in each direction. Behind them was a grand waterfall and the water glistened and made rainbows. "Naruto, you already know enough jutsu, so I'm only going to teach you taijutsu. Though I am going to teach you how to use light chakra so later on in life you can make your own jutsus. Now light chakra is the opposite of dark chakra and you have already got that down. So there will be no reaching into the soul to get this chakra. You should be able to manifest this chakra already since it's the opposite of dark chakra," explained Kami. Naruto took the hint and did the opposite of what he had to do to get dark chakra. It only took about 5 seconds, then his hands started to glow a faint yellow. "Ah, see, that wasn't that hard. Now I will put these seals on both of your hands. These seals will give you a boost of light chakra whenever you activate it, so you will hit harder and go faster," said Kami. "Awesome, now I can have a boost of strength and speed whenever I need it," Naruto exclaimed. Kami approached Naruto and hovered his finger over Naruto's hand. He started from the middle knuckle down to his wrist. When Kami was finished, there was a dragon on Naruto's left hand. He then did the same thing to Naruto's right hand. The dragons were dark. Naruto wondered why this was, since Kami was like a light producer and not a dark producer like his brother. All you have to do is say Dragon Seal activate and then they will glow a bright yellow and will give you a boost of strength and speed. Now time to teach you taijutsu. This taijutsu I plan to teach you is called Kyukyoku no Boi, Ultimate Defense. Now this summons light chakra around a radius of your body. This radius is about 10 meters. You will be alerted of anything that enters this radius automatically. Now create a field of light chakra around you," said Kami. Naruto did as told and created a field of light chakra around him. He instantly felt warm. Unlike dark chakra, when he used it he felt sick to his stomach. "Now the training shall begin. Don't let a single one of these flies touch you." Suddenly millions upon millions of flies showed up in the distance. Once they enter the radius you will know you just have to be fast enough to react. These aren't just normal flies. These flies are 10 times faster. The only part of your body that you can use is your fist," Kami said, and as soon as he finished talking the flies started hitting the light chakra's radius. Hinata left the Hokage's office with great speed befitting a tax vice commander. Jumping from building to building she headed for the main gate, knowing that was where the enemy had come from and where one of the Akatsuki was. She could feel the chakra radiating off whoever it was, so he must have been powerful. She jumped down from a building and landed in front of the main gate. The scene was horrific. At least 30 Konoha Junin were dead. Who could have done this, Hinata thought. She jumped just in time to dodge a punch from behind. Hinata turned. "Are you the one who has done this?" Hinata asked. "Yes, because I am God and God does whatever he pleases," said the man dressed in an Akatsuki cloak. "I'm guessing from all the piercing and those 5 flunkies behind you that you must be Pain," Hinata stated. "Yes, I am Pain, but that is not really important for you to know since you will die soon," Pain said calmly. As soon as the main body Yahiko stopped talking animal path. "These are the 6 different bodies," slammed her hand on the ground and summoned a huge rhino. Hinata activated her dragon fist, and when the rhino charged and got close, she jumped into the air and punched the rhino twice in the face. The rhino dispersed, then Hinata called out sweet in geysers. Geyser erupted from under each of the pain bodies. Each of the bodies dodged the attack by sidestepping the geysers. Hinata glared as she descended to the ground. When her foot hit the ground, she headed straight for the outer path, knowing that he would revive any of the other peons if she were to kill any of them. Running towards outer path, she called out Doden chains. Chains from the earth shot out and grabbed outer path's wrist and feet. Hinata continued towards outer path, cocked back her fist, and with her dragon fist activated she drilled outer path in the face. Outer path's head jerked right off of its body and flew off into the distance. With the earth chains sinking back into the ground, outer path's body fell backwards dead. Well, I see I am not dealing with an ordinary kunoichi. You will not leave here alive. Anything that can even cause so much as a little resistance to my plans shall be destroyed. Pain stated. Hinata smirked. It sounds like that you are assuming that you can beat me. She then disappeared, soon reappearing behind Preta Path, blowing 2 holes in his stomach with her dragon fist. 2 down, 4 to go. Which one of you wants to be next? Hinata asked sweetly. Animal Path summoned 2 tigers that went up to her shoulders in size, 1 white, 1 black. Animal Path charged Hinata with the tigers at her side. The white tiger jumped out at Hinata. Hinata jumped back to buy some time and called out Doden earth spikes. 5 earth spikes shot out of the ground and impaled the white tiger in the belly, making it vanish in a puff of smoke. Hinata then called out Sweeten Hydra. The Hydra was 2 times bigger than Gamabunta and had 6 heads. 1 head went for Animal Path and grabbed her right arm. Then with Animal Path's right arm in its mouth, the head went up into the sky. The head then swooped all the way to the ground and smashed Animal Path into the ground. Dust rose up from the impact. When it cleared, it showed Animal Path with her head stuck into the ground dead. The black tiger dispersed with its master dead. The Hydra then combined all of its heads to combine into one huge dragon head. The dragon then set its sights on the human path. The dragon head went full speed to human path, slamming into the ground where human path was. Hinata couldn't sense any more chakra where human path was, so she knew he was gone. Well, there is only 2 left. No. Hinata said. It seems as you are really strong. I will not even try to see Asura Path go up against you. Instead, I will just take Asura Path's chakra. Pain stated. Pain held out his hand. Blue chakra from Asura Path traveled to the main body of Yahiko. There, now I'm feeling much more powerful. You will be eliminated, girl. I have no patience for you from now on, said Pain, showing slight anger. Pain threw off his Akatsuki cloak to reveal a skin-tight black shirt with red clouds going around it. Pain's muscles seemed to bulge when he threw off the cloak. His chakra also began to increase. You see, that dumb cloak stores a hell of a lot of my chakra, and know that it is off, I will slaughter you, yelled Pain. Kyuubi stepped into the field of dead shinobi. There was dead shinobi everywhere, in the lake, and on the buildings. This was crazy. Orochimaru, come up here and face, because I knew that you are there, Kyuubi said. You knew I was here. Who are you? Orochimaru asked, coming out of the ground, intrigued by this mysterious figure to him. I guess you can't really see my tail since it's behind me, but I am Kyuubi. You see, Naruto released me from the seal a while back, and I have pledged allegiance to his village, Kyuubi said. Isn't this interesting? Shouldn't you be off fighting Madara, and why can't I feel your foul chakra? Orochimaru asked. Well, I'm not dumb, Orochimaru. I know that Madara can take control over me just like last time. I'd rather not fight him, so I just did the next best thing. I came to fight the freak. And as for my chakra, my power has been reduced, and don't think you're off the hook. I'm still strong enough to kick your ass, Kyuubi stated. Kyuubi, look at me. I am different from what I used to be. I used to have an old body and was frail and weak. Now that I used a revival jutsu that I stole from the moon country, I have revived Kimimaro, and I am now using his body. Now I'm young and spry and ready to, as you would say, kick your ass. Orochimaru laughed. We will see about that, Orochimaru. You're digging your own grave, Kyuubi said. Kyuubi immediately jumped to the left to avoid being hit by bones coming out of the ground. Kimimaro might not have been an Uchiha, but at least I can cast bone jutsu without even doing hand seals. You're done for, Kyuubi no Kitsune. Orochimaru smirked. You must have forgot, Whoiam boy.
I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the Lord of Fire. I can minupulate fire to so much digree it would make all of the knowledge of fire look like play stuff compared to mine. Fire of all colors, green, red, yellow, purple, blue, and white being the hottest, shot from Kyuubi's outstretched hand towards Orochimaru. Orochimaru called out, "Sweet and water wall." A wall of water shot up in front of Orochimaru. As soon as the fire hit the wall, the water sizzled up into steam and the fire kept coming. Orochimaru then placed a wall of bone in front of him. The fire then burned at the bone wall for about 5 seconds before it too went out. "I gotta admit that's some tough bone right there," Kyuubi said. Kyuubi smirked as white fire started to surround his body. His face, his hands, his legs, everything was covered by white fire. Somehow it didn't burn his pants and shoes, which were the only pieces of clothing that he had on. "You are the only human to have seen this. You should feel special that you will die by me in this form," Kyuubi laughed. "Well, no, that's a great idea," Orochimaru said. Then his body started to become covered by bone until you couldn't see one single tiny bit of his skin. The only part uncovered was his light green eyes. It was like an armor of bones. Kyuubi and Orochimaru flew at each other and engaged in a taijutsu battle. Fist meeting fist, elbow meeting elbow, and knee meeting knee. Kyuubi jumped back and said, "Doden wall pound." 2 big slabs of earth came out of the ground. One in front of Orochimaru and one in back. Both pieces of earth came together and smashed Orochimaru in the middle. Orochimaru spit up blood from his mouth. His head was the only thing not in between the 2 pieces of earth. Kyuubi walked towards Orochimaru, but suddenly the 2 slabs of earth started to open up. Orochimaru's bone armor was pushing against the giant slabs. From his back protruded 2 big pieces of bone that pressed against one earth slab, while from his chest 2 more pressed against the earth slab in the front. Orochimaru then jumped out and the earth slabs slammed into each other, then crumbled to pieces. Bone then started coming out of Orochimaru's body at rapid speeds, aiming straight for Kyuubi. Then the bone started coming from the ground. Kyuubi jumped into the air. Orochimaru stuck his pointer finger up at Kyuubi and a piece of bone shot from it. Kyuubi dodged the piece of bone and felt uneasy when he saw Orochimaru smirk. He then knew why when saw the bone protruding from his stomach. Orochimaru had used his finger bone as a distraction so Kyuubi wouldn't notice the one that came out of the ground. "Ah, you sneaky little snake. I will kill you," Kyuubi yelled. Kyuubi reached behind him, grabbed the bone and broke it. He fell to the ground and landed on both his feet, then kneeled. "Orochimaru, value everything around it because this is the last time you will see any of it," Kyuubi said. Kyuubi did the ram seal with his hands. Then a huge amount of chakra poured from him. He slowly started turning into a fox, getting bigger and bigger, also getting more tails until he was at his original state. White fire then surrounded Kyuubi's fur and his whole body. "You no see me in my true form. The 9-tailed fox," Kyuubi said. Kyuubi swiped his huge fire paw at Orochimaru. Orochimaru, having no time to dodge, crossed his arms in an X shape and braced impact. Kyuubi slammed his paw into Orochimaru, sending him right into the ground. When the smoke cleared, Orochimaru's right arm looked limp as if it were broken. Matter of fact, his whole right side was wiped clear of his bone armor. Orochimaru held up his left hand and huge bone spears came out of the ground, all aimed at Kyuubi's belly. They shot at Kyuubi as soon as they came out of the ground, but Kyuubi swiped them all away with his paw. Orochimaru called out regeneration jutsu. Soon his broken arm looked like it had never been broken and his body and armor was relived of any scratches. Then his bone armor started to cover his body again. "Orochimaru, don't look so confident. I knew that particular jutsu can only be used once," Kyuubi stated. Orochimaru looked surprised. He had invented the jutsu, so how did the Kyuubi know about it? He decided not to think about it at that moment. Kyuubi shot white fire from his mouth, not wanting to waste another moment. Orochimaru created a bone wall again, except this time Kyuubi fire burned through Orochimaru's bone wall. Orochimaru had just enough time to dodge the fire. "I take it that you're much stronger in this form, Kyuubi?" Orochimaru said, trying to remain calm. Kyuubi did not answer with words. Instead he lashed his firetails at Orochimaru. Orochimaru dodged 8, but the 9th tail found its mark. It swatted him like a fly, sending him through 10 trees.
Orochimaru lay there for about 15 seconds, then he got up and staggered to his feet using the trees as support. Leaning on the tree he said, "You know Kyuubi, there is only," Orochimaru coughed up blood. "There is only one bone jutsu that requires hand seals," Orochimaru said. Orochimaru started hand seals, then called out bone field. The ground started to rumble, then every inch of ground in a mile radius had some kind of bone sticking out of it. All of the bone went straight into Kyuubi. Kyuubi roared in pain. The white fire around his body began to fade away as he returned to his human form. Orochimaru cancelled his jutsu and was breathing heavily as he watched Kyuubi lay there in human form all bloodied up. Orochimaru's bone armor slowly went away since Orochimaru had no more chakra left to sustain it. Then Kyuubi's body vanished and only blood remained where his body used to be. Kyuubi in his human form walked out of the forest. "You have to love blood clones, Orochimaru. They can last for a long time and take a lot of damage, though that did take a lot of chakra from me for sustaining it that long. What, you should be dead?" Orochimaru screamed. "Calm down, don't get your snakes in a bundle." Kyuubi laughed. Kyuubi then pointed out both of his hands. White fire shot from both of his hands. Orochimaru, too tired to dodge or even move, looked out at the fire hopeless. As soon as the fire touched Orochimaru's bare skin, it burned him to a crisp. "Damn, if only I had all of my power back, he would have been a piece of cake. Now I feel like I'm going to pass out," Kyuubi said. Only seconds later he did pass out from chakra exhaustion and from some of the earlier wounds from the battle. "Now that I took that stupid cloak off, you're done for, little girl," Pain said. Hinata's answer to Pain was to say, "Clothing seal deactivate." Hinata's chakra flowed out around her like crazy, and so did Pain's chakra. Hinata activated her dragon fist, then called out Mokten hands. Wooden hands came out of the ground and tried to grab Pain. Pain dodged then by jumping and called out Kaiden Phoenix flowers. Balls of fire, lol, shot at the wooden hands and burned them to a crisp. Hinata then called out Sweeten Water Dragon Jutsu. The water dragon formed from mid-air and went straight for Pain, who was still in the air. Pain saw the oncoming dragon and yelled, "Futon Great Gale Winds." Pain opened his mouth and blew out a tremendous force of wind. The dragon stood no chance against Pain Jutsu and splashed to ground in a big puddle of water. "How about we try taijutsu on for size?" Hinata questioned. She dashed at Pain when he landed on the ground, hoping to use her dragon fist taijutsu to end Pain right there. "Girl, you must think I'm a fool if you think I'm going to let you get close to me with those dragon fists." Pain then called out Shira Tensai. Hinata was blown back 100 meters from Pain before she landed on her feet and slid back another 10 meters. "Well, I wasn't suspecting that, so I guess we'll just have to make this a long-range battle then," Hinata said. Then Hinata called out Seal of Damnation. A dark circle formed around Pain. Pain took a step forward but was instantly shocked by a bolt of lightning. "Pain, you will be stay in that circle forever. Every time you try to step out, the seal calls on a lightning bolt and will strike you down. I advise not taking another step," Hinata said, smirking. "A seal of this caliber most call for a seal master. I didn't know that there were many left in this day. I thought I was the only one," Pain said, laughing, seeing Hinata lose her smirk. Pain then leaned down and touched the ground. Pain then reached out and touched the barrier. Lightning came down and shocked his hand. Pain quickly jerked it back, then he smiled. So this is a 6 trigram seal. I can easily reverse 6. I can also perform up to an 8 trigram seal. You being a seal master, you should know that seals go up to 10 trigrams, so 8 trigrams are pretty powerful," Pain said while doing hand seals, then said seal release. "That was a piece of cake," Pain stated. "Well, Pain, you also being a seal master should know that 10 trigram seals are the most powerful. What if I told you that I can perform 10 trigram seals?" Hinata said, smiling. Pain had a worried expression on his face for about 5 seconds, then he started laughing. "You almost had me there. But I know you're bluffing. No one has ever performed a 10 trigram seal without paying a serious price. The Yodem, for example, performed a 10 trigram seal to seal the Kyuubi into Naruto, but then his soul was taken by the Shinagami. This seal is different. The only serious price I pay for it is not being able to move for 3 days," Hinata said. Pain did not answer. Instead, he called out Doden Golem Giants. 2 giant golems formed side by side behind Pain, both the same size as a large tree. They set their sights on Hinata and then they stepped forward. In only 2 steps they were only 10 meters away from Hinata. 10 meters was enough for both of them to swing their giant hands down at Hinata. Hinata cocked back both of her fists and met the golem's hands head-on. She was instantly blown back. Don't underestimate my golems. These bad boys are made from only the finest stone that can be found in the ground at present. Pain said. Hinata picked herself up from out of the crater that she had made with her body. Damn, I can't use that seal. It takes about 5 minutes to do all the hand seals. Hinata thought. The golems then moved to fist back and prepared to strike at Hinata again. Hinata, knowing this time that she could not counter fist to fist, she did what she thought was better. She called out Doden Earth Dragons. 2 Earth Dragon came out of the ground and met the golem's hands. The dragons and the golems were in a stalemate. Hinata started the hand seals for the 10 trigram seal. As soon as she did the first hand seal, she got uppercutted in the jaw by Pain. She flew up into the air, then came back down and landed on her back. Did you really think I would sit there and let you do a seal as powerful as 10 trigrams? Pain asked. Hinata lifted herself up, then she called out Sweeten Wave. A wave of water headed for Pain. Pain did not move. The wave hit him but did nothing at all. Pain turned towards Hinata and noticed that she had summoned 2 falcons. At that same time the golems had broken the earth dragons. Hello Kane, Carrie, said Hinata while taking in big breaths of air. Kane had red wings and a black body. His beak sported a scar. Carrie had grown almost as big as Kane now. Carrie though had a blue body with white wings. Kane, Carrie, I need you guys to buy me some time, about 5 minutes worth. Hinata said. Okay, but which one's stronger, the golems or the little guy with the orange hair? Kane asked. Defiantly, the little guy, but the golems are no joke either. Hinata said. Okay, then I will take the little guy and Carrie, you will take the golems. You only need 5 minutes, Hinata. I will make it 10. Kane said. Kane then flew off towards Pain while Carrie headed for the golems. Hinata then called out Doden Earth Dome. This put a dome of earth around her. She then started on her seals in the dark. Kane landed in front of Pain. You will not disturb Hinata while she is doing her seals. I will be your opponent. Kane said. Pain said nothing. Then Kane yelled Great Wind Attack. Kane flapped his wings and a gust of wind blasted out at Pain. Pain then called out Futon Great Gale Wind. Pain winds overpowered Kane's. Pain then jumped back and called out Raiden Electric Current. Pain stuck out his hands and lightning flowed out of his hand at Kane. Kane flew up into the air to dodge the attack. Bad move, bird, Pain smirked. Pain then called out Raiden Electric Storm. Big lightning bolts shot out from the now darkened clouds. Kane dodged in and out of the lightning, but the lightning being too fast hit Kane on his right wing. Kane, with only one wing to rely on, went down to the ground fast and hard. Kane then went back to the summon world in a puff of smoke. Meanwhile, Carrie was fighting the last stone golem. I just killed your friend and you're next. Carrie bragged. Actually, I'm getting bored of fighting you little birds. I have got more serious things to worry about, said Pain, standing behind Carrie. How did you get here? What happened to Kane-sama? Carrie asked. I just sent him back to the summoned world, exactly where you're going. Pain said. Then he delivered 2 devastating blows to Carrie in the back. Carrie then left in a puff of smoke. Pain then snapped his fingers and the golem disappeared also. He then set his sights on the earth dome that Hinata had put up. He then walked up to it and laughed. Girl, your time is up because God has come to send you to hell. Pain said, yelling the last part. Pain cocked back his fist and punched the earth dome. It shattered, not giving barely any resistance to Pain's fist at all. Pain then looked at Hinata. She was kneeled on her right knee, which was touching the ground. Her right hand was balled and a fist touching the ground by her knee. Hinata looked up at Pain, then she said 2 words. Dragon's Domain. The ground shook. Look, giants ruined the earth. Rain poured like it was putting out a never-ending fire. Fire erupted, sweeping the ground untamed. The wind blew like God Almighty himself was knocking at your door, and the lightning crackled like an evil witch. Dragons of all elements came from the respected domain. The earth, the water, the fire, the wind, the lightning. There were dragon of all elements, shapes, and sizes, and they were everywhere in at least a 2-mile radius. A dragon made up of all elements stood in the middle. It looked down at Pain and said, your days are numbered. The dragon mistress has summoned us. The dragons then all swooped down at Pain. The dragon with all elements made his way to Hinata and moved in front of Hinata to protect her from the huge explosion the dragons made while going at Pain. The explosion was a blinding light of all colors. Hinata covered her eyes. Even with the dragon in front of her, it was still super bright. It took about 20 seconds for the explosion to die down. Those 20 seconds felt like eternity to Hinata. The dragons then all disappeared. Hinata looked at Pain, or what was left of him. The only thing left was his face. This wasn't into good of condition. The elemental dragon then scooped up Hinata on his head and dropped her off in front of Konaha Hospital. He then too left, disappearing, leaving in a flash of light. What Hinata had said was true, she wouldn't be able to move for 3 days. All she could do is look up at the smoke-filled sky and hope for the best. Rex walked into the forest of death. It was dark and cold, just like Naruto had described to him when he was telling him about how he failed the Chunin test. Rex had come here because he had sensed a high chakra level here. Being the hunter nin commander, he picked this up before anyone, well besides Kyuubi and Hinata of course. He walked on the ground knowing his target was probably watching him right now. Rex jumped to the right fast enough just to avoid getting his foot eaten by some Venus fly-trap looking man. I am Zetsu, king of all plants. You should not have come here because as you can see there are plants everywhere. This will not end well for you. Zetsu said. Oh Zetsu, I have heard about you from Hinata-sama. She said you are a sneaky little plant bastard. She really emphasized on your elusiveness. Well, we are a perfect match, I'm used to chasing elusive criminals. Rex said, adjusting his black mask. Zetsu then went underground. Rex turned towards the tree behind him just as Zetsu popped out. Rex the called out Kaden blaze of hell. Rex reached out and touched Zetsu's cloak, which instantly caught on fire and started to burn. Zetsu squirmed out of the cloak before the fire touched him and burned him. Damn, you're a fire user, just my luck. Zetsu said. Oh but wait, I'm also a wind user. So I can slice you and burn you. Rex said. Zetsu went back into the tree that he came out of. He then popped out of a branch above Rex. Rex went to grab Zetsu by jumping up, but he was instantly pulled back down by a hand grabbing his foot. Rex looked down to see who it was, and it was Zetsu. Plant clone jutsu in a forest is the best, don't you think? Zetsu asked. Zetsu then threw Rex into the air and then called out Sweeten water piston. Zetsu shot water out of his mouth at Rex. Rex turned in mid-air and called out Fuuten gale wind. The wind and the water jutsu meet head-on and battled for supremacy. Rex landed on a tree branch, then thought, wow, if I just burn this whole forest then there will be no more trees for that bastard to jump out of. Rex jumped high up into the air, then called out Kaden blazing angel. An angel of fire formed in mid-air, then its wing flapped and carried it down to the forest. The fire angel flew over the trees, just barely touching them, but it still lit the whole forest on fire instantly. Rex then descended safely into a plain of grass. Zetsu then came out of the ground and glared at Rex. The forest are crying, you will die for what you have done here. Zetsu said. Yay, the dying part one, don't think so. I have a family to go back to at home, and I'm sure as hell I'm not going to die here by some damn plant-looking creature, or whatever you call yourself. Rex said. Zetsu then called out, plant animation. He then lifted his hands and vines grow out of the ground. The vines headed for Rex. Rex immediately called out Fuuten gale wind. The wind blew the vines back away from Rex. Rex ran at Zetsu to test out his taijutsu skills. Zetsu then lifted his hands and 2 trees grew out of the ground. The tree branches extended towards Rex. This time Rex didn't have any time to get off a jutsu and took a direct hit in the gut by a huge tree branch. Rex spit up blood, though Zetsu couldn't see because of his mask. While Rex was bending over, the tree branch came back around and hit him in the back, sending Rex to the ground. Rex lay on his stomach. The tree branch came down again, but this time Rex rolled out of the way. He reached his hand around to his back and touched it. There was blood there. He then did hand seals and slammed his hand on the ground while shouting, summoning jutsu. When the little puff of smoke cleared, it revealed 2 black coyotes. They went up to an average mon's chest in size. The coyote on the right ran to the left trying to get to Zetsu. The coyote on the right dodged a tree branch and lunged for Zetsu. The other coyote helped Rex up by grabbing the back of Rex's shirt with his teeth and pulling back. Rex made it to his feet, then looked at the coyote that helped him up. Thanks Mimi. Now how about we go and help your brother Fang? Yes, let's go show this guy who he is messing with, Mimi said. Rex and Mimi ran towards Zetsu. Rex ducked the tree branch from the other tree that Zetsu had summoned. Rex called out Kaden Fire Coyote. A coyote made of fire ran at the tree and colliding with it and setting it on fire. Rex then continued for Zetsu. Fang was ensnarled by Zetsu vines. Mimi growled and charged. She leapt and bit right through the vines, setting Fang free. Rex then looked at Zetsu and called out Kaden. Fudan, combination coyote. A fire coyote backed by the power of the wind blazed its way towards Zetsu, leaving a path of burnt grass. Zetsu could do nothing as the coyote ran into him, setting him ablaze. Zetsu screamed in agony, but then he quickly called out Sweeten Water Dragon. A dragon of water came out of Zetsu's burning mouth and then did a U-turn and ran straight into Zetsu, dousing the fire. Half of Zetsu was gone except for his leg and thighs, so almost the whole entire white side of Zetsu was burnt off. Zetsu mumbled, trying to scream, but since he only had half of a mouth it didn't work out too well. Yelling really doesn't suit you. You're supposed to be one of those typical no-emotion bad guys. Rex joked. Zetsu ran at Rex like a madman. Rex then looked at both at his coyotes and nodded his head. They then created some distance from Rex. Fang going to the right side and Mimi going to the left side. Rex then called out Kaden Blazing Angel. Fang and Mimi both opened their mouths and wind angels flew out of their mouths and flew alongside of the fire angel. When the angels got close to Zetsu, they all combined, making a fire angel of destruction. The fire angel flew along straight at Zetsu. Zetsu, who had lost half of his mind, literally wasn't thinking straight and continued his charge, putting no effort into dodging the fire angel. The fire angel collided with Zetsu, instantly burning Zetsu to a crisp as if he was never there. I haven't had a fight like that in a couple of months. That was actually kind of exciting. Well, you guys can go now, and thanks for your help, I really appreciated it. Rex said. The coyotes both looked at Rex and nodded their heads, then they disappeared in a puff of smoke. Rex kneeled on one knee, then he looked off into the distance. He could see Leaf Shinobis fighting with other ninja, trying their best to hold them off. My opponent wasn't that strong, and I'm still strong enough to take on some ordinary shinobi, so I better get back out there. Rex trudged his way out of the forest of death back into the village where the main skirmishes were happening. Here we go again, Rex thought as he started dodging kunai and helping Leaf Ninja as much as possible. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.